Okay, so welcome to episode, I believe it's 12 of the podcast, and today I've got someone I've wanted to talk to for quite a while on the show. This is Bryan Jenks, a fellow copy of Luke Smith. Welcome to the
Uh,
show.
yes, I guess we're both counted as discount Luke Smiths at this point, but you got the beard now. I shaved mine, so
Yeah, I've been growing this one out for quite a while now, and it's not going anywhere. I don't like how I look without a beard. It's just
well,
like a bit. Sorry, what were you saying?
if I shave it my whole face completely, I look 12, so I just keep a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty much what happened with me as well. I kind of haven't really aged since I was quite young. So if I got rid of this, yeah, I would easily look 12. Which has been a problem for a while because you know how you have those. You go into like a supermarket complex or like a shopping complex, and you have those people who are like, hey, do you want to donate to X charity?
Mhm.
And here you have to be 20 for whatever reason to sign up for those donations. And since I was like 16, people were like, hey, do you want to sign up for this charity? It's like, no, go away. I don't want to do that.
I thought this was going a different direction. I thought you were going to say people came up to you and asked you if you were lost and where your parents were.
No, that would be yeah, has that ever happened? I don't think so,
Not to
actually.
me.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever actually had that happen.
I'm too tall for that shit. People,
Yeah, I
people are
noticed you're
like,
talking to the Discord. You're like, what, 6'6", did you say?
yeah. If you're on metric, it's 198 centimeters, but yeah, I'm pretty tall. So I've been almost that tall for almost elementary school. I was already like 5 feet when I was in like second grade or something like that. Maybe I was just under 5 feet, but yeah,
Jesus.
no one ever asked me anything.
What am I now? I think I'm 5'10", 5'11". I haven't bothered to check in a while.
Last time I was that tall, I was in middle school.
Yeah, I've always been the like the shortest guy in my friend group. I am one of the taller guys in my family though, so I guess I have that.
I'm the tallest. And I was
Yeah.
like one of the tallest people in my graduating class of over 1,000. So
Oh jeez. Wait, you had a
hence the
thousand?
screen name.
I'm sorry, you had 1,000 people in your graduating class.
Probably more than that. It was probably close to maybe 1,200.
Oh
I don't
wow.
remember.
Yeah, there was less than 40 in mine.
Aussie life.
Yeah, I kind of did go to a really, really shit school though. So there was a lot of people who dropped out and were like, hey, I'm going to become a rapper. I was like, no, you're not. You're not going to become
Oh,
a
we got a
rapper.
lot of those. We got a lot of those.
Yeah, but this is Australian rap, which is notoriously terrible.
Yeah, I've heard some good stuff. I forget the name of the group as it's been a few years, but I've heard some good stuff.
Yeah, I've lit. Okay, maybe it's just the fact that I'm not super into Australian hip hop. That the stuff that I kind of get is, I guess, the stuff on the edges that people laugh at. Maybe it actually is good, and I just haven't come across any. But at least, what I've seen hasn't been the best. That's for sure.
Yeah, I remember. I'm thinking of the stuff like back when everyone was making parkour videos. Like they were always using this one group that sounded like it was Australian rap, but everyone was using their music.
When when was everyone making parkour videos? When did I miss out on this?
Well, that was like I think a golden age of that, at least coming from California, was probably around 4 or 5 years ago.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, there was a big hit of that stuff here.
Yeah, we tend to be following American trends after a couple of years that they've been finished. So maybe that'll hit here eventually.
And maybe you'll hire a Donald Trump.
I kind of want that because our politics are boring. I love US politics because it's just fun. Like,
At this point, you can't even tell if it's politics or just memes.
I don't know what's going on with you guys. I'm sure you've seen the video that Trump tweeted a little while back where it was like Obama and a bunch of people sitting on a couch and watching a Biden press speech. And it was
No.
It was Biden talking about how he likes kids jumping on his lap. That man shouldn't be running for office.
I don't know, still don't even know how he got there, but yeah. I don't really pay attention to politics any much at all.
Yeah, that's fair. It's too stressful if you take it seriously. I did that for a couple of
Yeah,
years and just like, no, I'm done. I want to go do something fun now.
I just stick to Newsboat. I just get what I want in there. Everything else is away.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a much easier way to do it.
Yeah, I don't want all that crap in my head. Mean World Syndrome and just seeing all the random shit in the world. I don't want to see that stuff.
No,
I got my
absolutely.
own stuff to worry about.
So, let's. I've actually got a list of things I did want to talk about because I wasn't sure how well the conversation would actually flow. But the first thing was, what made you want to actually switch to Linux? I know that obviously we both watched Luke's videos, but I'm sure that that wasn't the only reason.
No. I had like an Ubuntu laptop and I've played around with just dual booting, and then I have had an Ubuntu laptop long before I ever heard of Luke. So like I was messing around with it a little bit just because I like to tinker with things, but I never really got into it. Especially like, you now have Ubuntu desktop, you're using it basically like you use Windows. I would only use the command line just to sudo apt install stuff.
Yeah.
But when I saw his content on YouTube, it was really interesting because I liked the idea of what Vim was doing, just everything, all the fingers on the keyboard, not having to use the mouse, all of that type of stuff. And then he was into academia. He's a PhD. Just seeing everything, like all the stuff he had going on, it was really interesting to see like how he formed his digital life. And so I saw like a lot of the practicality of the things he was doing, and I saw how they could like impact my life and how I could use them to better my workflows or my note taking or whatever. And there's a couple of influences. He's one of them of why I wanted to go back to school, because I already have a career. I already graduated like lower level college, but I'm going back solely just because I want to, and partly because I want to like flex all these skills that I've gained and actually apply it to an academic environment. But it was really seeing like what he built, how he applied it, and just what he says about it's your system now. You can control it. You can build whatever you want, and why not build something that's hyper customized, super efficient, gets the job done, and saves you time.
Yeah, for me, I'm in my fourth year of university now. So I would have found, I think that actually the main reason I switched over to Linux was because of Luke's content. I actually dived pretty much straight into Linux. So I went from being a full-on Windows user for like, I think the first couple of weeks of my channel, I was still on Windows. And then I dived from that straight into Arch Linux. I'd been like watching DT's videos, Luke's videos, Chris Occhipenti, people like that for a good year and a half before that. And then I don't know what it was. I think I had just started trying out more of this like open source software on Windows. So I'd gotten rid of Acrobat Reader because it's garbage. I'd gotten rid of a lot of little things. I'd actually learned what Git was at that point. So I was actually doing a lot of stuff from like the Git Bash terminal thing on Windows.
Same.
And I discovered things like Pandoc. And at some point I realized it was going to be harder to keep doing that stuff on Windows than it would have been to just switch over to Linux. Because at the time, I didn't really have anything directly tying me to Windows. At this point, I do have a Windows install because I've got to do some Unity game development. But besides that, I don't touch Windows at this point. So at this point, there's nothing tying me to Windows. Like, you know what? I'm just going to switch and see what happens. And this was also at the start of a semester, so I was just like, let's just see what happens in this semester. I can write documents, I can surely submit my assignments. Everything else is going to be guesswork at this point.
It'll be okay. It'll be fine. Nothing will go wrong.
Yeah, and then I think towards exam period, I broke something in my Arch install, and I had to reinstall that, and that was fun. So, moral of the story is don't switch to Arch at the beginning of a semester. Give yourself a bit of time to get used to it.
No lie, just before this podcast recording, like a couple hours before, I was still messing a little bit with GNU Stow because I'm trying to get better file management.
Yeah.
And so I was making some symlinks on my .local bin scripts, and I was moving some stuff around, and for some reason I didn't do one of the links right. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just delete these links for this thing and start over. And I moved everything back. I accidentally deleted all the scripts for my status bar. And it wasn't like, oh, I have trash CLI or whatever it was you talked about in that video, which I'm totally going to get hooked up tonight because this was bad. I just straight up deleted it. And there's like some way of like going through like a log dump or some weird crap of restoring it. I just couldn't figure that out. I'm just like, shit. So I grabbed my Git repo. I grabbed a copy of an old commit of the repo and then just remodified my whole status bar to be what it was in the video that I posted. So I had to watch my own video to fix it. And that was what I was doing right before we started talking today.
I think the only thing that's caused me to seriously break my status bar was when I switched over from Bash to Dash as my my SH shell. I didn't actually check that some of my scripts had actually been using Bash, and then some of the dependencies in the scripts were using Bash as well. But yeah, I right now for .file management, I'm using the like hackiest method ever. It's just like a big shell script that just has a bunch of like a list of symlinks to make. I should look at something like Stow, and actually, it's been on my list for a while. People keep telling me you should look at this. You should look at like yet another .file manager and a bunch of other things like that. And I'm just like, I'll just have to rewrite what I've already got working. It works at this point. I might as well just leave it as it is.
What I saw that what I was doing before was something similar, where I would just like copy the .file to a certain repo, and that was fine.
Yeah.
But people recommended some of my subscribers recommended a couple of things to me. If it was like GNU Stow, RCM. I remember watching DT's video about Git bare repositories, and that just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what was the point of that one. It seemed like a lot of the comments didn't understand, or thought that DT didn't really understand the point of them either. So I guess it's everyone's kind of in agreement on this one.
Yeah, but I've been messing with Stow since last night, and once I figured out how you're actually supposed to set it up, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's pretty nice. It's just, I mean, if you don't mind looking at symlinks when you're going through your normal directories, but if you wanted to encapsulate all of your .files, config files, local scripts into a single directory at the home level and have it all backed up with Git and just symlink to those areas, and you don't care about seeing a shitload of symlinks, you're good to go. And it's really easy, and it never deletes or overwrites anything. So I'm gonna hopefully be finished moving over tonight, because I got somebody who wants to grab my status bar, and I'll probably make a video about it soon too, because it's once I figured out how it worked, I'm like, why was I not doing this already?
I've heard good things about it, so I might have a look at it at some point. But right now, it's I think week 9 or week 10 of my uni semester, so it's starting to get to the point where my assignments are due, and I've got to do. Actually, I don't have an exam this semester. I now have a week-long assignment, so I've got to prepare for that as well. So right now, I'm kind of just going through videos that I already know stuff about, or I can, I guess, do the research on pretty quickly. But I do want to do some bigger projects, like redo all of my .file management in Stow, or have a look at another window manager, things like that.
Well, I mean, the current video trend seems to be everyone saying, DWM, re.
Oh yeah, on that note, so I assume you have seen Luke's video on DWM, and then you saw DT's response on it?
And I saw somebody actually sent me another video.
Was it HexDSL?
Yeah. And then somebody like name dropped me on that video. And
okay, sure.
Like, because like the video I uploaded about like moving away from LARPs, like just doing my own thing and moving away from that direction because now I feel more comfortable with all this Linux stuff. Just learning by doing my own thing. That was all filmed, scheduled, and put out before DT even uploaded his video because I shoot in advance on the weekends because I don't like to film during the week.
Yeah.
So like that came out, I'm just like, oh, wow, I unintentionally hit the gravy train here. Everyone's on this bandwagon.
Yeah, you might have actually timed that perfectly without even trying to do it.
Yeah, because that was not intentional.
So have you actually seen all three? I know you saw the Luke and the DT one. Have you actually watched all the way through the Hex DSL one as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know I don't know what's happening right now. So now there's this weird war that's happening between 4 window managers that otherwise no one would really have any questions about. It's just like, oh, is DWM versus DWM versus BSPWM versus i3 versus
Xmonad?
Yeah, that one. Thank you. Normally no one would even question. It's like, oh, you're using BSPWM? That's cool. Now it's like,
of course, everyone,
Linux drama. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, everyone outside of this sphere is just like, what are you guys on about?
Oh yeah, everyone else is just like, this is the most meaningless drama ever.
How do you look at your programs on your computer screen? Ugh.
Well, no, like the thing is, if you're coming from being a Windows user, they'd all look exactly the same anyway. It's like, oh, this is just a slightly different way to lay your windows out, except really you could make BSPWM and DWM kind of behave the same way, so there's not actually that much of a difference in the first place.
Yeah, the Windows workspaces and some of those things where you can snap windows to different sides of the screen are like one of the few things that keeps me sane on my work laptop.
Yeah, I've been having a interesting experience trying to get used to Windows again. I think right now what I'm doing is just letting everything just sit there and just not dealing with it. Because pretty much all I need is that Unity window and then Visual Studio for my C# stuff. Because I could go and set VM up on the Windows machine. I don't want to do it. I'll just accept that Visual Studio's there. Because I'm going to get rid of this drive as soon as the semester's over anyway.
Plus, most of the applications like that, I think there's a paid one for SSMS if you're doing queries.
Mm-hmm.
But for VS Code, RStudio, like they all have Vim plugins or Vim keys that you can get. So I stay somewhat sane with that, but I still like break a bunch of shit when I'm on Windows because I keep trying to use Vim keys. It's like I've reached that point in my life. I'm that level of Vim user where you start breaking shit because you're trying to do things the Vim way.
The thing that I've been doing a lot is I've been trying to quit Windows with my Super Shift Q, and it obviously doesn't do anything. Or I've been trying to like switch workspaces and Super 2 or like Super any of the number keys. Basically, what that's going to do is open an application, just something in your what do they call it on Windows?
System tray?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it just opens a new program in your system tray.
I have a couple of my programs up at the top so I can actually use that because I know that most of my time is on Windows when I'm working. So I kind of just try to like optimize whatever I can do with Windows with that way. But yeah, getting Vim set up is pointless at this point with that.
There's only so much you can really do to optimize a Windows workflow. I know I think there's like a tiling window sort of thing that goes on top of the Windows window manager. That's hard to say. It sort of like emulates a tiling window manager better than the snapping stuff. But I have no idea if it's any good.
Well, I work on a locked down machine from a government agency, so it's not going to happen for me.
Yeah, that would limit you a bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't really have much of any freedom with what I can do with my laptop.
I was going to ask you what you did, but it sounds like it's something you may not be able to talk about.
Not in detail. I work for a state government agency, one of the big ones here in California. So I'm a government flunky.
A paycheck's a paycheck.
Yeah, I'm a research data analyst. I'm a research data analyst too, so I'm like the senior of the analysts.
Oh.
But it's a good living. I get to do programming and things for the state government. And ultimately, there are other groups and people who, especially like the free code camp groups of people. There's actually some here in California that actually work closely with some of the public sector agencies and actually do like civil coding and provide dashboards and support for different things for civil agencies and help solve civil problems. Like when Corona Chan happened, we all had this group of people set up things like I think it was a R Shiny dashboard using Leaflet.js, and they had like all the details for all the open restaurants that were still doing takeout.
Yeah.
So like things like that to just help support the local community. So there's a lot of things like that here. But yeah, I do programming and things with SQL database stuff, writing embedded web apps in medical software and a couple other things. But yeah, I'm a government stooge as much as a lot of the people in this niche of the world seem to not like that. It's comfy living right now, and right now it's a good time to be working for the government.
Yeah, you guys are... America's doing really bad. Like...
Yeah, California's got a $54 billion deficit right now, which is larger than our 2008 crash.
Jeez.
So it's going to be dicey.
Yeah, in Australia, we're opening back up, but now China's like, hey, we're going to start an economic war with you. We're just not going to buy your beef. Like, oh, okay, that's fun. Let's not... Like, China, do you have bigger problems than Australia? Just leave us alone, please.
Hey, they just really don't like kangaroos.
They don't like... To be fair, like, honestly, they should buy some kangaroos. We have too many of them. They are a pest. No, we actually...
All the joeys?
Do you actually know how many kangaroos are in Australia? Like,
I have
most
no
people don't
idea.
seem to realise how ridiculous the problem is. I think it's a bit over double the number of people.
Jesus.
Yeah, so they are actually a pest at this point.
It's like my town with cows.
I didn't think you could ever get to the point where cows are a serious problem like that.
Well, they're not a pest or a problem, but we have like twice as many as people.
Oh.
Oh man, aren't the kangaroos just like, hey bro, you want to fight? Punch.
Yeah, I would avoid them at all costs if they come anywhere near you. Like, some people... I guess it's fine if they're sort of domesticated in a zoo, but if you see a wild kangaroo, do not go anywhere near it. It's like seeing a wild dog. Just slowly back away, because it might kill you.
I think I remember hearing that, yeah, the males will like box with you and do that, but that the real danger is their kicks.
Yeah, no, the kicks... I'm not sure how powerful the kick is, but I know that they can do significant damage to the front of a car. So, just think what that'll do to your ribs.
And I am never going to Australia.
Oh, there's plenty of other reasons not come here as well. Just the snakes, the spiders, the birds that will eat small children.
Literally everything trying to kill you.
Yeah, pretty much. You get used to it at some point.
That's why you stay inside, and then eventually, because you're inside so much, you learn Linux, and that's why we're here now.
I guess that's one way to put it, isn't it? It's fine. You're not safe inside either, because the spiders will come inside.
Oh god.
It's always interesting the reaction I get when I hear I see the reaction from people in other countries about spiders. Because here, there are people obviously who are arachnophobic, but I don't know how they survive, because you'll just like walk into your kitchen, say, "Oh, there's a spider there." Whatever. Smack it. It's fine.
Well, that's how I am, but my girlfriend, no, it's go kill that spider, please.
Yeah. Yeah, my sister is horribly afraid of spiders, and when I was living with her, it was any time a spider would appear, she's like, "Oh, can you get it? Can you get it?" It's like, no. I'm just going to sit here and laugh at you.
What did he do to you? I'm just going to let him bro over there.
You kind of start to recognize the spiders that are a problem. A lot of the spiders, it's kind of safe to just smack them with your hand. But not, even though I'm not like obviously a spider expert, there are some colors on a spider that you should just avoid at all costs. If it's like red or white, just do not touch it with your hand, because you will probably die.
Treat all spiders and venomous or potentially venomous things like a poison arrow frog. Avoid.
Yeah, well, that's probably the safest way to do it. Really, if you are worried about your safety, I would recommend just picking up a shoe. but eh. Because I've already scared away all the spider people, there was one thing that did happen back when I was living at my family house. It was like, I think midnight or something, and there was a spider running across the floor, and I came out and smacked it with the shoe, and it turned out it was carrying an egg sac on it, and like hundreds of little spiders came out of it.
I got a similar story if we're going to be, keeping the arachnophobic people away. Back at one of the first few houses I grew up in, there was this huge garden spider. Like, I mean, thing was like this big in like leg span. It was huge. And we had two of them. We left them alone. They did their thing, caught flies, good spider. But there was an egg sac in the web, and I, being a young, stupid child, didn't have any idea what this was. I pick it off, I open it up, and now I have baby spiders all over myself.
Oh no.
Of course, I was just like, ugh. But, and if it was anybody else, I'd probably be like hysterical.
Yeah, God, okay, the thing is, I'm fine with I'm fine with like spiders and bugs as long as they're not on me. If it's on me, I'm like, ugh. But if there's at least like a little bit of distance between us, like whatever, you're a spider. I don't care about you. I kind of just become a massive bitch about it when it touches me.
I was that weird child that knew that I'm not sure if they're called the same there or if you guys even have them, but the daddy long legs spiders.
Yeah, we call them the same thing.
But like they're basically harmless to us anyways. And me being a kid knowing that, I'm just like, cool, I'll just let him crawl on me and freak people out.
Oh no. Oh.
God, I pity the babysitters I had as a child.
Yeah, they probably weren't being paid enough to deal with you.
I got ADHD. They were not paid enough to deal with me.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, water time.
Yeah, water time. Yeah, this is my cycling bottle that I haven't used for cycling in a very long time.
I just got this one, which I have several different bottles for several different things, but this one, it's like a Takea or whatever this is. Some like $20, just random water bottle on Amazon. I really like it because it's got a big opening for ice cubes, but also the top is not a flip off, so it's not going to burst open. And it's not a complete screw off the top to get to your water, but it has a little cap that screws off and it has an interior thread and then flips open that way.
Oh yeah, I had a very similar one. It was a thermos, but then I was using it at work and I dropped it plenty of times and I stood on it and it broke.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
It needed to die.
It did, but it was entirely okay. It was sort of my fault. I was living on top of pallets when I was moving them around. I'm a night filler in a supermarket. Got that really enjoyable job. Honestly, it's not too bad. I enjoy it. It's fine. It's menial labor. Gets me out of the house. But
it's better than what I did in college.
What were you doing in college?
I put myself through college.
Are you gonna say fast food? Because I've done that as well.
It wasn't fast food in the normal chains that we have. It was a mom and pop frozen yogurt shop working retail front counter alone the whole time. So, I mean, on one hand, I didn't have coworkers to bother me, and I could spend 3 hours opening or closing alone, which is nice. But anyone who has ever worked retail or anything interacting with the public knows just how stupid the public is.
I'm very aware.
It's like that you get a magnet for every dumbass person that exists, and they're going to be seeing you. They're going to be seeing you at your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, even though I'm a night filler, I still get a lot of people that come to me and just ask me the most inane questions. I've had people ask me like where the freezers are. I was like, have you considered walking to the end of the store where that entire wall of freezers are? You'll find them, I guarantee it. Or I'm like standing next to the salt and like, hey, where's the salt? It's like, are you blind? Look like 40 degrees downwards, you'll see it.
It's like, slightly turn your head. I know it's going to be painful, but there it is.
But then I guess from time to time you get those nice customers. It's not often, but there'll sometimes just be that sweet person who comes through. Like at the start of all of this Corona stuff, we had a limit on toilet paper. I'm sure you guys had the same thing.
Yeah.
That was a fun experience. But there was a dude who, uh, because we had a limit of 1 pack of toilet paper, he thought that meant 1 roll of toilet paper, and he wanted me to like open a packet for him, and I was like, no, you can have the entire packet, and he was so happy about it. Because he was like 90 years old.
Okay, the age makes it very much more heartwarming and less interesting.
Yeah, if you wanted to be a bit more heartwarming, he also had like a skin graft on his face, and he could barely walk, so...
All right, so everyone who's got a bleeding heart out there, you now have your daily heartwarming story.
And then you have other people who come through the store who you're convinced are going to stab you when they... Actually, maybe this is just a problem with the area I work, because it's kind of a poor area. You'll have people who come through with like head to toe tattoos, and they'll just ask you the most basic question, whereas if you saw them anywhere else, you'd be worried they'd stab you.
Yeah. I have a fair amount of tattoos.
Shoot you or something, but hey, I don't know.
I got a fair amount of tattoos, but it is something when you get a lot, you become conscious of. So like if I'm walking down somewhere and if it's like later at night, or if there's, if it's just me and there's no one else around and there's like some other person over there, woman, man, doesn't matter. But like if there's somebody over there, like I'm already conscious of like, okay, I can't act in any way that could even be construed as creeper.
Well, you're also a giant, so you've got a worse problem there as well.
Yeah, I just look scary to people. It's like I'm not. But I mean, you see like a 6'6", I'm almost, I think I'm like 250 pounds or almost 100 kilos. And I've got a shitload of tattoos. So like people see me walking up, if they didn't know me, they're like,
Yeah, I don't intimidate anyone. It's nice. It's also a bit of a problem sometimes, but generally it's fine. But I can see how that would be a problem. I guess you can't really walk around at night with like a hoodie over your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Probably not the best idea.
So it is nice though, because people seem to, because they might be a little intimidated, they just don't do stupid crap to you right off the bat. So like they don't know, okay, can I even, I'm not sure about this guy. And then they hear me talk about Linux or other nerdy shit and they're like, okay, I could totally rip on this dweeb.
Yeah, I've managed to, actually, weirdly, that's never been something that's actually gotten me bullied for anything. Like, I've always been that nerdy kid, but even, like, all throughout school, like, that was never really a problem for me. I guess it was because I could actually hold a conversation with someone with stuff outside of nerdy stuff. Like, I've never been much into sport or anything like that, but I could still at least hold a conversation with someone.
Yeah, I was not really good at socializing as a kid. I was more quiet and read a lot of books, and that made me more of a magnet, but because I'm so big, it wasn't too bad. But then I started like looking from the ground and just looking forward, and then got a little bit more self-confidence, and then people stopped messing with me in high school. So I was like, okay, so this is how you avoid all of that. Just walk around like, yeah, I will punch you in the face if you mess with me. So that seemed to solve it for high school.
Yeah, that, especially because of how, just honestly, just that basic level of self-confidence. You don't even have to do anything intimidating just because of how tall you are. Like,
yeah, it's a little helpful.
Yeah, they're not going to try to like push you out of the way when you're trying to like go up the stairs or anything like that. Like, nah, this dude will like clothesline me or something.
No, I've never even had anybody try to start a fight with me, which is probably good for them.
I think all the fights that I've been in, I were partially the reason they started, because I had serious anger problems as a kid. So, yeah,
I've been there.
That was really my only problem that I had growing up. It's just like I would just get angry at the most menial stuff. It's like, oh, someone slightly insulted you. Time to get really angry about it.
I think that's just testosterone growing up in general.
Yeah, I was like 10 or 11 at the time though, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's about that time
Oh, yeah,
for some.
that might be it. I don't know. But imagine just getting that angry about comments. Like,
Yeah.
I've had so many people who just. It's one thing to give some sort of like constructive feedback, and then other
Mm.
people who are just complaining about the just absolutely nothing. They're just trying to find problems when there are no problems there.
Kind of like the people on YouTube that followed you from Luke's channel, and you get like, yeah, you get a lot of the cool Linux fans, but then you get a lot of the shit posters.
Yes, yes, I do.
So you get that lovely benefit of his recommendation is that you get a lot of the people from 4chan.
To be fair, a lot of those people have actually been pretty cool. I've had a
That's
few
good.
people who were interesting characters, um, but most of them have been pretty chill. Like I think the mod you're talking to on my server, he was a 4chan guy as well.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't lurk 4chan.
Yeah, well, I have other things to be doing with my time. I try to avoid doing that.
I mean, after I heard that Luke was basically just the physical embodiment of the G forum, I had to go and like check out what G was all about,
Hmm.
and it's just everyone talking about Linux, that or posting memes of Richard Stallman.
Speaking of G, did you a few months back when DT did a video? I think he was trying to appeal to the 4chan viewers. You might not have seen it, but basically he went on 4chan, posted a thing, basically asking them how he could improve his channel, and
Oh God.
yeah, and all of the comments were just absolute shit.
I can imagine the level of shit posting that was. Just delete it. It was probably like one of the main ones.
Yeah, I think that was the top one, and then there was other ones like, um, stop trying to appeal to the 4chan users, and not in such a nice way, obviously. Um, Other people being like, stop trying to like copy Luke and things like that, which it's always nice when other people get that.
Yeah, like I did. I fully admit I was doing a little bit of his like meme thumbnail stuff in the
You
beginning because
definitely were, without a doubt.
you want to get your channel up and off, and now I'm just like at this point, okay, I feel like I'm getting a good amount of growth, and I'm kind of happy with it, and I'm kind of getting my own little groove going.
Mhm.
So that, and I'm just planning to move away from Larbs anyway, so I kind of just stopped on that, just doing my own thing this time.
One thing I didn't ask you about earlier was what made you decide on Labs rather than spinning something yourself up? Because I saw what Luke was doing with Labs, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to do that myself. Whereas you were like, okay, I'm gonna just switch straight over to Labs.
I wasn't switching from anything other than Windows, so it
Yeah.
was kind of like I didn't have any experience with Linux other than like my Ubuntu desktop that I used for the bare necessities of just like window management or like
We,
file management.
I was on Windows
So
myself, and then when I went to Arch, I went with like a completely clean setup. So that's what I mean there, like, because I was just like,
that's
okay,
my
that's all cool. What Luke's done, maybe I can do something myself that fits exactly what I want to do.
yeah, that's my next step. I have what my current system, and it's like it runs, it works, it's stable,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can do what I do every day. I can do work, do school, do whatever on this thing. But now that I have my testing machine, so I have two ThinkPads now. I got an i5 and an i7, and so my i7 is actually what I use every day.
Mhm.
But this i5, I just put in a new SSD, and so now I can actually use this as I can start building a system from scratch. I don't have to worry about anything. I can build it, and then I can just swap the hard drives and just start from there and move my actual files over when I'm ready. So like that's my next step in my grand plan of all of this is build something of my own from scratch, figure out how it all works, figure out how to get Xorg running, and just all of that, and following the wiki more. So that's going to be like the next step of in-depth learn by doing project-based learning is actually doing my own bare installation. But now I can walk into it with a little bit of experience from messing around with Larbs and looking at how things are put together. What are some of the things that you can do with it? Like instead of putting all your stuff in your bash RC, put it in other documents, source those, like just little things like that. I can walk away from LARBs knowing that, seeing that, working with it, and then I can implement that on my own in my own way, which is ultimately what I intend to do.
Yeah, I'd completely cut you off there. Sorry about that. Right in the middle of you trying to explain what you were, or why you did that. So you kind of just wanted something that you knew was going to work, and then from there, once you've gotten used to working with Arch Linux, then you could go do your own thing, basically, I guess.
Yep, because I wanted to immediately use what I saw Luke using,
Yeah.
and learn it. And what I did with that, I mentioned this in your Discord channel, that I watched all of his videos, like every single bit of his videos, other than like the long podcasts, honestly. But every single one of his videos about his system, Vim, LaTeX, everything, I watched all of them. I had a Trello board at the time before I moved over to this, and just everything terminal based. I had a Trello board. I had a card for every program with sub notes on it for every link, for documentation review, for video review when I actually got the system up and running, for checklists of what I wanted to do. And I had this whole board of like all the programs that he talked about, everything that went into the system, everything I wanted to do with it, all the documentation. And I systematically went through every single bit of it over the course of like 2 months to actually use the programs, learn the programs, the hotkeys, where the files are stored, what to do with it. And that's how I really got familiar with it. And now I've just been like kind of just playing around, learning a few more things. Like you reviewed my Flash script, but doing that just because it was actually meant for me. But writing that really got me more comfortable with writing Bash. And I've done a couple scripts of my own for my own reasons. And like my runes script is just a simple translator for like English to a UTF, a Unicode character set. Mm-hmm. But this Flash script was actually like a real project using Bash in like an actual work sense. So like that got me really familiar with Bash and got me really interested in it, because once a language can hook me by getting a project I'm invested in, then I actually can get into it enough to actually stick with it, which is why I'm super into R. And so I hope for something like that with C, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
But
I don't
maybe.
think so.
Who knows? Probably not, but I don't really see. Well, with so much that what you can do with Bash, it's almost like, well, why go to C at that point? But, we'll see. But yeah, I want to take all those skills that I've gained by using the system the way he set it up. I've changed a lot of things to my own, the way I want to use things. But I haven't done anything from scratch, which is, like I said, my next step. So I'm looking forward to that, and also dreading the headaches and the head scratching to come.
Really, it's, from my experience, it hasn't been too bad. I haven't tried to do anything too crazy though. Like getting your Xorg server working isn't difficult. You just install it. You install it and then you just start X and it works. Maybe in the past it would have been hard, but yeah, because I was saying before that I wanted to do everything myself, so I've kind of just done, like, if you've watched my channel, like the early stuff, and then you watch the new stuff, my setup has completely changed because I've just been incrementally over time building up something that I think is like the best system for me, and I'm still working on it now. Like I saw your video recently on the changes you're making to your lab setup with your status bar, where you had just the single icon there. So I've decided to do something similar with my torrents module, and also I'm going to put a crypto one there as well. But I thought that I'd had my polybar to the point where I was like, this is good. And then I see something else someone else does, like, oh, that's cool, I can do that as well, can't I? And that, I think, is one of the benefits of starting everything completely from scratch. You have no idea where you're going to take it. You just kind of stumble in a general direction.
Yeah. I got... one of the cool things that I did like about taking all the scripts that were already packaged with LARBs is that now I've completely rewritten a few of them. Like the one that was there for, I actually, it might even not even be Luke's. I think some of these come packaged with i3 to begin with, but there's one for like batteries that I changed out, and I went through all of his and removed all the typical emojis that he had in there, the ones that are not like flat. And I put font awesome ones in there because then they're treated like text, so you can actually color them with the span elements and inline CSS.
Yeah.
And so now I actually do that like conditionally on the battery. So I have different battery icons for like charging, discharging, static, or empty, and then it changes color to match my Grovebox theme that I did all just inline CSS. So I've been going through like all the scripts and changing that, and today by remaking them. But I do like how my status bar turned out.
It's not going to be complete. You're going to change it again. Guarantee it.
Oh yeah, I add and remove modules all the time. I got the crypto one in here now that he has on the new distribution, but I only care about BAT and LBC.
Yeah.
So I like have those going, but I didn't want to have like all of the stuff printed out on the status bar take up the space. So I removed the print statement at the bottom and just left the notify send stuff if you click on it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead at the bottom, I just have it like spit out a yellow colored Bitcoin icon on my status bar, so I can just click that.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Right. Pretty much the only crypto I care about is LBC and BAT as well. But I've got some other investments, so those are kind of like long term ones. Like I've got a bit of Bitcoin because why not? I've got a bit of Ripple because why not? But the ones I mainly care about were LBC and BAT. Have you actually seen what's happened to the LBC price recently? Did you check it? Because it's almost at 5 cents.
Yeah, it's been hovering around 3 lately, but yeah, it is about to go back. It is going up.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at my LBC counts on Library because I saw like an email they sent out recently about you need to actually pull your LBC out or something per month, or they recommend it. And I don't even know what to do with that. I just keep my videos uploading over there, and that's all I really do.
What I would recommend doing, because I noticed that a lot of your content there doesn't really get views.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can take some, or you can claim some of the tips that you've been sent, and then support your content with those tips. So that's basically how I've been growing on the platform. Basically, a few months back when it was like real cheap to get a bunch of LBC, I bought like a couple $100 of it, and then I started supporting my own content, and then that would cause like more. Basically, put the video up in trending. So I don't know how much you've got on your wallet, but I would recommend checking that out. Obviously, don't take everything out, because if you did, then that would reduce the discoverability of your content as it is. But if you've got like a couple of months saved up, I would take off like a month or two to just go back and support your content.
Yeah, I need to look more into LBC because I haven't done anything other than just let my videos roll over to there, and I take whatever I did make from like view stuff and like drop it on my videos, and that was really all I did. That was it.
That's pretty much really all you need to do. Obviously, you can spend more time looking into it, and I've been getting really involved in the Discord community because there is a serious spammer problem on the platform right now, and I want it dealt with.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it's affecting your comments, even if you even check them on Library, but on mine, I always get at least five to 10 people being like, "Hey, follow me, I'll follow you," or "Click here to get free Bitcoin." It's like, no, stop, go away, please.
I only get like one or two on occasion, but I don't even see any sort of like pop-up notification or anywhere to even check your comments besides just going to each video, and you don't even get notified.
Yet. There's no notifications for comments.
It's like
there needs to be, and they're coming, but they're not here yet.
I hope so. We got nested comments before we even get notifications that we have comments.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bit of a weird decision to go that way, but from what I've heard from the CEO and people in the team, the comment system they currently have is kind of, they took their existing system and then oh, sorry, the notification system, so the email notifications, they took their current system and just glued notifications on it. So they kind of want to rewrite that system so they can do things like push notifications and just make it a bit more seamless like other platforms are.
That would be preferable.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bitcoin, I actually have a funny story about that. A friend of mine from my high school actually was early on just interested in Bitcoin. So before it got like big, like when it was like $300 a coin initially, he bought a fair amount of them, but he wasn't like, sadly, he wasn't smart enough to be a Bitcoin millionaire, but he made like, I think he went from $300 coins to, or actually $100. He made about $8,000, just $8,000 just from Bitcoin, from buying early and holding it for a little bit. And I think he bought himself a car with that.
Nice.
Just with Bitcoin.
That's kind of what's going to happen with my LBC at this point. Well, I don't want to say how much I have, but all I'll say is there's enough to buy a cheap car.
That's awesome. I just started using Brave for the bat.
Because you were using Firefox before, weren't you?
I was on Firefox. I've been using Firefox for probably a decade or something like that. I've only used Firefox for the most part.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting switch. The only thing I really don't care for with Brave is that I notice on some sites, like I think it's, what is this one? BitTube and Library, actually, when I watch any videos on there, sometimes it has this like magenta looking overview, like my video recorded wrong. So
yeah,
it's not displaying videos.
What is going on with your videos?
It's not my videos, because I open Firefox and look at it because I'm like, wait, did FFmpeg fuck something up? No, it's just, it was the browser, and it's fixed now, or it's not doing it now. But I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, because I'd noticed that. I was looking at your videos on Brave. I'd switched it to 1080p, and it's like, oh, it's magenta now. But that's the only channel I've seen it on. Maybe it happens on someone else's. I haven't tested it out, but...
Yeah, so if it's working, if it does that to you too, then okay, maybe it is my video, but why? Because on Firefox, it doesn't do that at all.
Well, no, it still could be a Brave problem then. What?
This is interesting.
Yeah, that's... Because it's just based on Chromium, so there's no reason for it to be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, it would be one thing if it was just some completely new web engine, but it's just Chromium. I don't know.
Yeah, and here, I opened a video on the Library, and it looks like it looks like the Predator aliens.
Wait, it happens on the Library as well?
Yeah, Library and BitTube.
Huh. Yeah, I never watch Library on the website, so I've never seen that one. That is weird.
I haven't managed to get the desktop at some of the troubleshooting stuff, and the server always quits on me. And I tried messing with some of the, I think it was the socket stuff, or I forget what, but I tried doing some of the troubleshooting, and I still cannot get the Library application for desktop to work.
Huh. I'm not sure, because I just installed the AUR package and it works fine.
Yeah, I installed it from the AUR, but it always just says that the daemon craps out on me.
I think there's also an app image. You could try that. I don't know.
I will try, but I can't even watch Library except on the website.
And wait, is it just 1080p videos that do it? Because I know because you upload in 1080p, it would get synced to Library in 1080p. I know it doesn't happen when I watch your videos in 720. So...
Huh. I'm going to watch one of your videos right now.
My videos are all in 1080, so...
Oh, so it's probably going to do the same thing?
Maybe. I don't know.
See.
Let's find out.
Nope. You're just as...
when you're starting
colored as always. Huh.
I
It's like
don't
it's just
know.
me. It's
It
just my videos.
is it your encoding settings or something? I don't know. Maybe it is FFmpeg.
Maybe.
This is a
Well, it's a good
mystery.
thing that not everyone is using Brave.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you don't really need to watch the videos in 1080 anyway.
Yeah.
It because of YouTube's awful compression, it's kind of pretty much the same.
Hmm.
What else do we have
Yeah,
in here?
I can't even edit on this 16 gigs of RAM, an i7 on this ThinkPad. I can't even video edit without the internal temp going up to 100 degrees Celsius. And I actually got to the point where I had to hard reset because my entire system was so overheated that it just crapped out on me.
Oh
It's like I
jeez.
can't even video edit on this thing.
Yeah,
Or
I have been noticing that your voice is cutting out a bit anytime you touch anything on that computer.
yeah, my goal is to get a good desktop put together. Like I mean, like a legit gaming desktop,
Hmm.
not like super expensive, but I wanted something that I can actually do a little bit of gaming on because I bought some games from on Steam like a year or more ago that I have no computers that can actually run them. So I'm really irritated by that. So I want to get an actual desktop set up, and I figured, okay, Arch Linux on a desktop that's super powered, then I can actually stream the way I want to stream
Hmm.
because I can't even look at my external monitor if I'm streaming. I actually have to use my ThinkPad's monitor. Otherwise, it craps out on me and it hates it. And OBS is like, all your RAM are belong to us. So yeah, I need a new laptop. Or I mean, a new desktop.
I'm surprised OBS is functioning as well as it does on your system if that's how much it's struggling. Because OBS was a pain on my laptop, and that was my laptop's not even that bad, but
Yeah, I don't know how it works well enough on a stream if I use only my ThinkPad display, but the minute I put it on my external monitor and with that resolution, with my Yeti mic, with my Logitech webcam,
mhm.
and streaming in general, it's just like nah, bro, can't
Just
handle
all falls
that.
apart. Yeah.
yeah, I tried messing with it live on a stream once, and it was not good. Uh,
I'm surprised that you're willing to do live coding because live coding is not something that I am even going to touch.
but live coding?
Yeah, like actually messing with like your script on a stream.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
you see how
I haven't
bad
had
I
any
am
major
like doing it just
problems.
when like a regular video. Doing that live is going to get even worse.
I usually get sometimes I get people that. So one thing I do love about it though is I mention like, oh, I'm working on this thing or I'm trying to figure out how to do this thing, and then people are just like, just try this. Okay,
That makes
I
sense.
put that in my vimrc, or I go and look for a resource, or they recommend something to look into. I love doing my live streams because people always suggest the coolest shit, or just like somebody has an easy fix to my problem, and it's something that was just buried in documentation. And so like I'll add it to my vimrc, I'll test it out, or I figure like, okay, this is cool. I got this thing now. But I also wanted it to do this. Oh, there's a suggestion.
Mm.
So it's been cool to do it in like I'm not gonna suddenly start messing with some critical files while I'm on a live stream or start
Yeah.
doing like when I was working on my Flash script, I wasn't doing like a lot of like serious dev on it while I was live, but I just like had it up to like talk about it. But if I was actually going to do like real like coding, I wouldn't have it like live because I'd be like nobody wants to watch an hour of Bryan just going like this.
I'm sure someone will watch it.
That's creepy.
Look, you heard what my mod was saying. He's just always in your live streams.
Oh man, I got some people that seem to show up like every single time, which is cool because some of them are becoming regulars, and a lot of them are just really chill and cool to talk to.
Yeah, I've been seeing. There's some people I recognize from like when I had like 100, 200 subscribers, and they're still here now. It's like that's awesome. Some of them don't have.
Yeah.
The thing YouTube does now, I don't know if you've seen this, is if you've had a sub that's been around for like a couple of months, it'll have a little icon next to their name. But it only does that if they have their subscribers or their subscriptions public. And it also shows you like the comments that you heart the most. So whoever like you've actually hearted the most, they'll show up with like special icon as well. But if you obviously don't have your subscriptions public, that won't show up. So I'll still notice those names like, oh, I recognize you. You've been around for a long time, haven't you? Even if I don't really recognize exactly why I recognize them, like, oh, I know who you are. You've been around since the start, haven't you? That's awesome that you're still here.
That's actually a pretty cool feature.
It's
So
rare YouTube
does that
does
mean-
things that are cool, but hey, it can happen sometimes.
Does that mean you're gonna heart all my comments so I can pop up at the top of all your videos?
I could do that.
I really like that. It's really weird for me because I watch I watch your videos, DistroTube, Chris Titus, Luke, like everybody, a lot of big people in the scene. I'm always watching their videos so I can learn more.
I'm not a big
But
person
then
in
when
the scene. I have like 6K subs.
Yeah, and then like when I watch people's channels and then I see like on your channel or on somebody else's and I see like somebody mention my name, I'm like, that's weird. Why are you talking about me? It's like I'm over there. You're 5K. You're a little bit over there, but I'm like way down there. It's like, oh, this is interesting.
The weird one for me was when DT subscribed to my channel. I think I had 300 subs at the time, and I made a video that didn't do very well, and then DT subscribed and gave me like words of encouragement. Like, that's awesome. I've been watching you for so long, and that's one of the things I like about DT. He's really, really active in the community. He like, I assume that he knows who basically every Linux creator is at this point, because he'll just show up in random places. He's on like, what, 50, 60,000 subs? I don't remember how much he has. And he'll still pop up in the comment section for people who have basically nothing.
That's really cool of him. I did watch his video recently about the like a YouTube channel review for that other Linux creator, and thankfully I'm doing some of the stuff he already recommended, which is nice. But it was really cool of him to like review somebody's channel and like give him constructive advice on how to actually make more out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the sort of content I really enjoy now. I don't know if you've experienced this yourself, but the more videos I make, the less I really want to watch this, like videos that are in the same sort of style that I make. I don't know if you've really experienced that yourself, but as I make more videos on like Linux tutorials, software showcases, things like that, I don't really want to go and watch like Luke's video on that or DT's video on that, because it feels like I could just do that same video myself. I don't know if you've experienced that yourself.
At this point, I think I like just to see like what Luke's doing sometimes, but I don't really. I still watch a lot of DT stuff for like actually getting a good intro to like a new program or something, and I like watching your stuff for like, oh, you talked about VimWiki. What did I miss? Did I miss something? Is there something in there that I can now add to mine? Because people see different programs or different parts of the software differently, or they do different things with it. So like, I really like my VimWiki setup. I've done a couple of videos on it, and I was talking with some of their Discord people about it. But I wanted to see like, did you do anything cool with it that I haven't done? And then can I add that? And actually, yeah, it was. I think actually I forget what it was, but yeah,
Couldn't have been that cool.
I don't remember if it was like you gave me that idea or I posted on a comment to give you the idea of doing like the toggleable checkboxes with the special icons you can set in your VimRC. I don't remember.
Didn't mention that. Yeah, I didn't say that myself. So
Maybe it was my comment to you then.
Maybe. I don't know.
I like VimWiki, so if you make a video on VimWiki, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I still watch everyone's videos. It's just a matter of sometimes they might be talking about a program I don't really care about, in which case I won't watch it because I have a lot of subs in a lot of different things besides computers and Linux.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of trying to be a little bit more selective with what I spend my time on because I got so many other things going on. I got a side business and going back to school. I work full time. I got my own system to develop and learn. So I got way too much crap going on to just waste away on YouTube. So I'm kind of selective, but it's not like I made a video on this or I could, so I'm not going to watch yours.
I guess it's part of the reason for me, but I don't know. It's just a weird feeling where I'm like, if I'm making Linux videos, I obviously will still check in and see what people are doing, but even like because I'm making the videos, it just feels weird for me to go and actually then watch the videos. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Maybe it's because I've done nearly 300 videos at this point.
I got about a third of that at this point. Sometimes I remember you did a self roast, but I like to go back sometimes and just look at my old videos and just be like,
Yeah, we've both grown quite a bit since the start of our channels.
Yeah, some of them I'm just like, you're not really talking about much here. I'm just gonna turn that video private because that doesn't need to be in the world anymore.
I just let it all sit out there. People can go back and watch the terrible content if they want. But then I'll get comments on those videos and people are like, this is still really helpful. Like, did we talk about the same video? Like, I got a video, I think it was one of my first videos on NeoVim, where I was talking about how it actually makes a pretty good IDE if you put the effort into it. And that still gets tons of views, and I hate that video.
I actually liked that you could do a lot of that stuff with NeoVim, but I tried setting up COC and a couple things to make it more IDE-like, and it was just too much for me. Like for what I'd use Vim for, if I'm going to do, so I mainly do a couple different types of programming. If I'm going to do R and something in the sphere of R stuff, I'm going to use RStudio. Sure. I did get a setup going where I had NeoVim. I could actually just send like a line or a code block to a terminal split in Vim and have it execute my code because I'm running R in that Vim hosted terminal. Mm-hmm. So I got all that working, and the plots would output and display on like another i3 window, and cool. So I can actually do R development in there. But just some of the tooling in RStudio is just so good at this point. It's meant for R that it's like, if I'm going to be doing R, it's going to be in RStudio. They got Vim keys. That's good enough for me at this point. If I'm going to be messing with my website, it's going to be in VS Code. Maybe minor edits in Vim, but it's going to be in VS Code because those things are just really, really good for that. Vim keys all up in this business, but like still, I use Vim for everything else. But those two like domains, it's in those two IDEs.
Yeah, I used to be a VS Code user back when I was modifying, like when I did my last web dev job, I was a VS Code user at the time. And whenever I do web development now, I do use Vim because that's mainly what my setup is made for. When it comes to doing compiled languages, I can see why you'd want to do an IDE, or when you want to do something that's as data heavy as R Markdown, you'd want to do like RStudio. That makes perfect sense. But for me, when it's a interpreted language, like obviously Bash, Python, JavaScript, things like that, I think they do work really well in Vim because you don't need to create some sort of weird method where you're executing the code within Vim. Especially with like JavaScript development. If you're doing JavaScript development, you're going to have a web browser open. When you save it, because of how magical web development is now, it's just going to automatically reload the page. Obviously, if you're doing like just straight HTML, it's not the case. But if you're messing with NPM, then all of that stuff is just magically handled in the background, and it's kind of editor independent, I guess I would say.
I haven't even messed with NPM or any of that stuff very much. I'm kind of I got a static site. I can do a little bit of JavaScript. I'm having to actually, Lord save me, I'm actually having to learn Angular 1 for work.
Oh.
So you guys can all pity me, but I'm learning Angular 1 for work. I would rather have just done something like Vue if I was going to start with a framework, but I got a little bit of Vanilla.js, a little bit of the ES6 stuff. But most of what I've done with it is really just for work things. Mm-hmm. don't have much of anything on my site besides maybe a little bit of C3JS for like a chart for my blog posts. But beyond that, it's all like static, and I like it. And you raise a good point about using Vim for the front end, but yeah, I should just switch over. Yeah, well, we all use T-Pope's plugins for tag stuff, so might as well.
Might as well. Did you check out Luke's website for that brief period when it looked really, really bad?
I don't think so. I think early on, like I came into his stuff around, I want to say, late last year. So a lot of his really early stuff was before I was even watching him.
No, I mean his website.
Yeah.
There was one point where he decided to change the CSS for his website, and it looked horrendous. I don't know what he was thinking that day. He's fixed it now. I don't know if you've checked it recently. It looks considerably better. But at one point it was like purple, and I don't know what was going on with it. It was like in a weird rounded square.
Oh, yeah.
It looks fine now. Like, there's nothing wrong with it now. But he was messing with the CSS for a while, and yeah, it wasn't good. It was definitely not good.
I grabbed some of his front-end stuff because I wanted a website that was already structured some of that way.
Sure, yeah.
So I do remember the purple square.
Yeah.
But it looks like he made his background the same color mine is now, because I went with a darker background because I'm still keeping Grovebox, and I think he actually put more Grovebox stuff in here.
Certainly looks like it, that's for sure. I just realized I have a video view and I should have been showing that. There we go. Now people can actually see the website. I have these magical scenes working in OBS, and then I just forget to use them. Oh, this is a beautiful picture down the bottom here. The Unaboomer picture right at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on with all that stuff.
There you go. Now people can see it massively.
Yeah, I actually need to I keep track of all my desired changes from all my repos in GitHub issues, like, any developer should.
I just forget about that.
But yeah, I found this really cool program that actually is built with Ruby, GHI. Yes. GitHub has their own command line stuff, and people have said, yeah, but GitHub has their command line. But then what GHI lets me do that GitHub doesn't do is I can actually pull down all the text. I can see the whole list of all the comments, the labels. I can add labels, remove labels, change labels. I can do all that stuff, everything I want to do. With GHI, not all of that can be done with the GitHub command line. And there's a couple of other tools that people recommended, but none of them do everything GHI can do. And it's this very simple workflow because I can just do GHI open. It opens up a Vim buffer. I can add the title, some description. It uses GitHub flavor markdown still because it just gets sent to GitHub, and that works. And save it, close it. There you go. There's a new issue on your repo. I just go to that directory, whatever the repo is. I could just do fuzzy finder, bam, and then I can easily just set up mass amounts of issues for things I want to follow up on. So what I did is when I was watching your video, when you reviewed my Flash script, is every time you or I saw a comment on the video that brought up a really good piece of feedback, I had a terminal open with GHI. I'm just like, add the issues.
I was really disappointed when I checked out GitHub CLI, and it didn't have a way to add comments to issues or just do really much of anything to issues besides just create one. It's this is a CLI tool for GitHub, and third-party tools do this better. So
I'm sticking with GHI because one of the cool things is this is one of the things that just really blew my mind with Linux that I really, really love. Or just Bash in general, is things like Task Warrior, which I'm actually going to be getting a lot more back into. I was into it for a little bit, but I'm actually going to do a little bit more with it now. Is that now that I got more familiar with Bash, is that you can easily set up scripts to do a lot of the stuff or a lot of the footwork for these things, or just if say you're moving over a bunch of tasks to Task Warrior and you want to set up your contexts, your tags, you want to set up stuff to open URLs with task open, you want to do all that setup, you could easily just say, I'm just going to write a single bash script with all the stuff in multiple lines, use Vim, copy some stuff, move some text blocks around, multiple cursors and just type out all your issues, all your fields, and then just execute that one script and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Just all like a big batch processing of stuff. Like I really love that you could do that with Bash for Task Warrior or for GHI. Like just set up a script to run GHI, set up multiple issues at once. Bam.
Task Warrior, the name rings a bell, but I don't think I've looked at that one just yet.
Let's see if I can share. I wonder if I can share my screen.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Does it work?
Yeah, it might be a bit easier if you send a link to me, and then I can bring it up on my my other scene, so we don't break it. Yeah, let's not try this. Let's do it the easy way. If you can send me a link, that'll be the easiest. Or maybe send me a picture or something. I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, my audio's broken. How did that even happen? How did you do that? Okay, we're gonna stop for just a moment so I can fix the audio.
No idea.
So, what I noticed, basically what happened on my end was that Bryan changed something on his side, and then my Pulse Audio decided to move the Discord audio from being my internal speakers to being my HDMI ARC.
Elite Haxor.
You've managed to get root access to my computer through changing your Discord scenes.
rm-rf / no preserve root. Bye, Brody.
Fucking Pulse Audio is shit. I see why people don't like it now.
All right, I got a screenshot here. It's like a
awesome.
simple task. Seeing if I can figure out how to send this to you.
If you just drop it in the Discord chat. If you wait, do you have a GUI file manager? Do you?
I do not, but thankfully
Discord comes as well.
doesn't open. Yeah, so it'll open up.
Actually, I'm not surprised you don't have a GUI file manager, to be honest.
I do not.
I use LF a ton, but there are just times when having that GUI option is just more convenient.
Are we counting like LF and Ranger and VIFM as GUI file managers?
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's convenient to, like, I like my terminal file manager, but there's times when it's convenient to have something like Space FM or PCman FM, just especially when you're working with web browsers.
Yeah, I think there's only been one occasion where I was actually like, oh, I'd really just like to drag and drop right now. And I think then I even found the solution anyways. Like there was a button to open up a file explorer to grab a file. So I honestly have not been missing it at all. Mm-hmm. But I could see like it would come in handy the one time you actually do need it.
So it's some sort of task creation app.
Yeah, Task Warrior is really cool because there's also a lot. There's a big community around it, so there's a lot of like other people's add-ons that you can do with it. Mm-hmm. It's a command line based task management system, and it uses a single JSON file to hold all the stuff. But you don't really edit or deal with the JSON, but you can get your data because it's in a JSON format, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. But on the right is this giant just like a list of the file, and you can actually manually edit these files by just doing task edit. Mm-hmm. You can run the program by just saying task and it will list out all your tasks. Task add adds a task, a bunch of commands like that. But then you can also schedule them, delay them so they don't pop up in your task list. You can give them certain amounts of priority. You can change how things are calculated for priority. You can add notes and comments to your tasks. You can do, the only add-on I have for it is something called Task Open, where you can add an annotation to the task, which is just like a comment. But instead of opening a text field or text buffer and seeing your comment, if you set it to be like a URL or a file on your system or a URL on the internet, you can actually open up the URL or the file by doing task open in the number of the task. And because it's in the command line completely, you can script on it, which is really cool. And so I've done some like custom functions where you can do task add, and then you can say the name of the task, the tags you add to it. I just do like TA, add a field, space add a field or whatever. And it was doing stuff like that. But one of the cool things I really liked about it is that it also comes with reports, like terminal-based graph reports of your tasks. So you could do like a burn down. You can do a burn down for like a day, a week, a month, or a year, I think. There's a bunch of cool different options that come with it, but it's really cool because it also has contexts. So like from top to bottom, you can have a context, which is like work, home, school. And then you have underneath that, you have projects. So at home, you have like a project of you're building a shed from scratch. Usually you need your supplies, you need your plans, you need stuff. Then you also have another project. So you have different projects. And then under each project, you have tasks. And under each task, you can have comments, annotations, files that open up. You can have task dependencies. And having dependencies raises the priority of the dependencies versus the main task, etc. It gets pretty deep. I went a little bit deep into this
Yeah, sounds
a
like
while
you
ago.
really like this program.
Yeah, I'm honestly just a big geek for task management systems in general. I love task management stuff. So I designed like the whole like documentation and task management systems for like some of the stuff that we do at my office for my development team. And yeah, I go really nerdy for that stuff. Task Warrior is really cool. It's I've fun. I will probably make more videos about it. I've made one before. I kind of got a little bit away from it because a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now it's just easy one-off surface level stuff. But I'm getting to the point where I have so many different things going on. Like I got my Trello board. I'm back on Trello briefly because I just got so much stuff I'm trying to study and keep track of, or that I want to keep track of because I want to study these 50 different things for Linux. I just don't want to forget about, I wanted to look at that. So I have a Trello board for that, but that's not in the command line. So we got to change that. So I have decided I'm going to get back into Task Warrior because I could easily just pick a different context, put it in there. I could have all my stuff at home, put it in there, etc. And for my business now that's picking up again too, I got to put that in there. Mm-hmm. And it's scriptable, so that works. And yeah, I was originally just using Taskle because it's just a Kanban board with Vim key bindings in the terminal. And I really love using that. And it's really good to just get it done. But for managing a bunch of different spheres of content, Task Warrior can just do a lot better. And I figured there's some initial growing pain with not using Vim key bindings in like an N curses TUI, but I can get over that. You do it enough, you get used to it, and you can script on it so you can make it friendlier to you over time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be moving back to Task Warrior soon and making videos about it.
I might have to check that out because I've never been much of a task management person. I find that when I start doing task management, I end up wasting more time trying to optimize my task management than actually doing the tasks.
That was one of the things that irked me with Task Warrior initially, is that I wasn't as I'm not like super skilled, but like I feel a lot more comfortable on the command line and with Bash now more than ever. So I feel like the learning curve and just the time suck would be much more minimized now than it was then, and that it would be better this time. But it was the same for me. But I'm medically diagnosed with ADHD, so I have learned throughout my life just ways of handling that and dealing with it and to leverage the strengths of it in certain areas. But one thing I can't do is manage tasks effectively very well. So I'm all over task management systems. Initially, it was like a bullet journal, or it was just Post-it notes everywhere, or I send myself ridiculous amounts of emails to myself to like, okay, I did that task, delete the email. Like I have my ways of keeping track of my life, and it works because I never forget anything, but I have to stick to my systems, and Task Warrior is definitely going to be a good one.
It sounds like it will be.
Hopefully.
We can only hope, can't we? Otherwise, you're going to have to find something else and then spend more time trying to find the perfect task management. Instead, start doing task management to find the perfect task management and get nothing done.
That was basically getting into Linux in general in the beginning. A task management system to figure out how to do a task management system in this new computer system. Great.
I've kind of turned that into the theme of my channel though, because I just test out random software and I'm like, I want to do a video on this. And that's what I was going to do anyway, so it's just like, I'm not really wasting time.
Yeah, I think where I'm heading myself is more of here's what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I changed this to this now because of this. Here's a live example. Here's how I'm configuring it. Here's why I did it. Here's how I did it. And then I definitely do have a couple areas where I'm more niche than some of the other YouTubers like Luke, DTU, or others, where I talk a lot about R. And I have a couple series where I have like a 20+ video series on just things you can do with R Markdown. And I do R package reviews. I have a published package myself and just all things about R. And then because of Luke, I got into LaTeX, but I went like really deep into some of the documentation of that. I took like a week off of work and I was just the whole time, I am just reading LaTeX documentation, building my own template files. I have like a repo for my template. So like I have something set up for like writing a bare bones academic research paper / thesis. I know that theses are like, they have their own templates to use, but it's a really good kind of jack of all trades template at this point. But like reviewing the packages I put into it, how they work, why they work, and like what I'm doing with it. So a little bit deeper into LaTeX than what Luke did, because he kind of just, here's how to do basic document outline, some Vim macros for it. And, here's how to make a custom CV where
you can make an entire channel just on LaTeX if you wanted to put the time into it.
So that's one of the cool things, like what DT said about a niche within a niche within a niche, is that, okay, yeah, Linux is a really, it can be a big but still small niche. But that one guy was just like really pigeonholing himself. I'm trying to like, yeah, I'm really into like Linux stuff, but here's what I'm doing with Linux, but also here's R, and also here's LaTeX. And then I have my other channel for my business that I should stop neglecting so much, but we'll see about that.
Well, that's where I'm kind of sitting in that general Linux niche, but I like to branch out of that. Like I'll occasionally do, here's what's happening with like my uni stuff, or here is what's happening, like here's my thoughts on this Windows thing. I kind of want to, and like how it relates to like Linux, I guess. So you kind of branch out a bit more, and you can bring in those people who might not be exactly interested in your like more general content, like the more niche stuff you do. But if you branch out into a bit of a niche, they might find like your content there and be like, oh, okay, I like this. Maybe I want to try like some of the more niche R Markdown stuff, or maybe I want to try looking at some random application for viewing Mastodon posts or something like that.
Yeah, that is one thing that I've been trying to do. Is I don't really care for Reddit too much, just because sometimes people can get really aggressive on there. But one thing I was just like, okay, I'm just going to deal with it, is post my content in relevant subreddits just for like the traffic. And it actually has worked out decently for me. I don't really get any sort of negativity yet. I'm expecting it, but I haven't gotten anything major yet. But what I really get is on Twitter for R stuff, there's a great hashtag and some good like bots that pick up all the posts. I get a lot of people from the R community that follow my stuff for my R content. And that's one of the reasons I'm going back to school, was actually that people who do R, a lot of them are like PhDs. So I was like, well, I'm over here with not even a 4-year degree. I think I'm going to go back to school. But it's just inspiring. But I post in these like these content areas. So R, LaTeX, and command line bash, those subreddits.
I did notice just you're in r/command line,
Yeah, just to get some of the traffic. I try to not post every day or spam, or if I make a video that just, I did some bash, but really the thing is, or this thing, I'm not going to post that into our command line, because I don't want to piss off some people. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is directly about bash. I wrote a bash script. Here's the video in our command line or bash, and I'll cross post that way. But I'm trying to like get the Reddit traffic, but not get flamed.
If you're ever interested in pissing off the r/command line guys, say anything positive about JavaScript or Python. That's the quickest way to do it.
JavaScript and Python for command line applications?
Yes. Python is still fairly popular for command line stuff, but there's more JavaScript stuff is popping up, and then you have all the people being like, NPM is a massive security hole, and they will just roast you if you post anything about JavaScript in there.
I did see that about NPM being the security risk, and that about Dino taking over like some of the slack on that because of that security risk.
Don't think I've heard that one. I kind of just I heard about the security risk, didn't really look much into it myself. So, do you have any like what's actually going on with that?
Well, I'm not a front end developer, so I wasn't looking too carefully at it.
Yeah.
But I think it was something about how when npm installs certain things, it basically has free access to do whatever. So if you install something malicious from npm, it's basically going to have free access to do whatever. And that, okay, well, that means that npm better have their shit together and not have anything malicious in there, which we know is 100% foolproof.
Oh, yeah, well, there are Bitcoin miners on npm.
Yeah, so but the creator of npm is the one who's making Dino, I believe, which is, here's what I did. I made npm. It's used by so many people that you can't just change it. So I'm going to make a new thing, and it's going to be better.
I know that a lot of people are migrating to npx because that's supposed to be better because it doesn't need like root access to just install like a local package, which is something npm needs.
I don't even know that existed. So
yeah, npm. I can see why it's a security hole because there are Bitcoin miners, and it does basically need root access to download a package that's going to be in a local directory. Oh, you have a cat.
Oh yeah, I have 3.
You have 3, do you? I noticed one in a live stream, and I think I noticed one in another video. I didn't know you had a third one.
Yeah, I liked it that in my live stream, or if it was the live stream or one of my videos, but somebody was like, "That's cool, dude, but please post more about the cats." Like,
just make a cat channel.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, some of those are doing really well.
Wouldn't it be funny if you upload a cat video, it did better than anything you've ever made? How would you feel about that?
That's like one of those like head hanging moments. You're just like, I guess every day is going to be Catter Day on this channel now.
Hey, whatever brings in the views, I guess.
Yeah, get that monetization.
You're getting closer. What are you at? 700 now?
Well, looking at my status bar, it tells me I'm set 643.
Okay, 643.
Yeah. It's been nice though. The last week I went up over 100, and then in like the last day or two, it's been another 40. So it looks like it's picking up.
Well, yeah, I know why. It's because of the the window manager stuff.
Actually, that video it's gotten more traffic than like the last 4 videos, but that's not saying much. It actually hasn't gone like super well for my current level of things. It hasn't gone viral at all for me. So.
Have you tried to work out where they're coming from? Have you got anything?
Most of my analytics are from, say I get a lot of traffic from Reddit. So I'm just hoping that just some of those people come from Reddit and then stick around by subscribing. But I can look.
Because I think most of mine obviously comes from YouTube traffic now, but I get a lot of people who come over from... I actually have people coming over from Twitter as well. So I will post in like the Linux hashtag, and then there's like a Linux bot that reposts everything that's in the Linux hashtag, which is a great way to abuse the system. So that's what I do. I take advantage of that one, and then the one for R, because they repost everything to everybody who's following them. So I get a lot of traffic from Twitter as well. And obviously, because I post all my videos in my Discord, anyone who's in my Discord comes from there as well.
So actually, I narrowed it down to just the last 7 days. So it's just my live stream and then the window manager video. And it looks like for traffic, it's YouTube search and browse features. And then for external traffic, it's Reddit and Google search.
I think my DuckDuckGo is actually higher than Google search for me, which is weird.
My my Google search for this week is 35.6%, and DuckDuckGo is 4%.
Jeez. So let's see if this. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting content. Let's see what mine is. Let's see if we can find it quickly.
I only use DuckDuckGo, so come on, you're doing me dirty, man.
Yeah, man. What are you doing? Where's my analytics? There. Analytics. Where's it under? Reach?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, oh no, Google search is way higher. I was wrong. So, yeah, most of my content comes from my browse feature, then YouTube search channel page, suggested videos. For external, it's... Why do I get... Who's posting my content on Reddit? Why am I getting Reddit traffic? I don't post on Reddit.
There's actually a subreddit directly for Luke Smith, but there's like barely anybody in it. But every single day, they got your videos and Luke's videos hooked up to an automatic posting. So whenever you post, it goes to the same Luke Smith subreddit.
Wait,
and now...
Really?
It's a... Yep. There's not a lot of people in it. It never gets any comments, but you're automatically posted in there.
I'm finding this. I didn't know this existed.
Yeah, I follow it just because, I thought it was funny, and I want to see if anybody posts any comments. But I suggested to the mods to add Nick's cast to it because they're like people who put out content like Luke or you. So,
and because Luke never uploads, I'm the only thing on here.
Yeah, it's all Brody.
Oh, this is awesome. I didn't know this was a thing. Yeah, there's like 93 members. I should promote this.
It's like you got Luke Smith, you got the discount Luke Smith.
That is hilarious. How did I not know this was a thing?
But it's funny because I have that subreddit in my newsboat URLs, and so every time it pops up with Luke Smith, I'm like, Luke posted another video. Oh, it's just that Brody guy.
That's awesome. Okay, that explains the Reddit traffic. Because I thought maybe I would just get the odd person who just posted a video somewhere. That probably happens as well. I did notice on, I think, r/Vim, someone asked... They took a screenshot from one of my videos and asked how I was doing the color highlighting. And I knew it was mine because I recognized the wallpaper I had.
Take a screenshot of the video. Don't provide the video.
Or, I don't know, ask in the comment section of the video. That also would help.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I respond to basically every comment. Just ask in the video. I'll answer your question.
It's good for the algorithm. We're going to respond while the user base is small.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't get why people don't respond to every comment. It's obviously, if you have tons of comments, that's one thing. But if you're a relatively small channel, it's what? I think I spend maybe half an hour every day going through replying to comments or just checking what's happening with the channel. It doesn't take that much time.
Yeah. There's this one YouTuber I follow. Maybe you follow him too. Biscuit.
Biscuit. The name rings a bell, but I don't think so.
I think he's Swedish or Finnish, but he posts a lot of stuff. He does primarily C++ coding. A lot of it's just over my head, but it's just interesting, and I like watching his videos just because they're entertaining. Mm-hmm. But he literally will respond to every single comment and like itemizes them. Like he goes through them and responds to everyone. And I think he's got a good large subscriber base.
This is the one we're talking about here?
I think he has like a Mario icon.
Oh, maybe it's a different one.
Maybe he changed it. I don't know.
This one has a lot of C++ videos. Maybe this is it. BISQWIT.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he changed his icon. Yeah, Biscuit. Yeah, he's got 123k subs, and he still replies to like every single person.
Jeez.
Oh, he's got multiple channels, too. He's got 4 other channels. Jesus, this dude is doing it.
Bible with Biscuit, Biscuit plays, Biscuit extras. Jeez, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, he's doing
uploading
it.
daily videos is enough content for me.
I can barely get enough videos to do daily.
You
I have
work
to
full
shoot like a
time
ton of
though.
them. Yeah,
Like
got other things to do.
I really am not that busy right now because I don't have to go to class because classes are still cancelled. They're cancelled till
Yeah.
the end of the semester at this point. I didn't go to them anyway. I'll just do stuff. It's all computer pracs. I can just do it online.
They canceled school here till the end of the year.
Oh yeah, well you guys are at like a million cases.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's because America sucks, but
What was I saying? Right. No, I actually don't remember. Uh. Oh right. No, I'm not that busy. So right now, because everyone's already stocked up for the apocalypse, no one's really buying food, so I'm not really working much. So I've got plenty of time to do stuff.
dang, people are still shopping here like crazy.
Jeez, okay. You guys have a bit of a different culture. Plus, we're opening back up now.
I like how you use the euphemism culture
Yeah, it is.
instead
Well,
of just people here are a
well,
special kind of something.
they are a bit of special kind of something. Look, I do enjoy you guys' gun culture. It is nice. Guns are fun, but some people take it a bit far. Like you don't need 40 guns. That's too many. How many hands do you
I
have?
don't. You don't need an RPG. Okay, have your assault rifle maybe, but or your like larger magazines. I don't care, but you don't need like an RPG or a tank. Come on now.
But it does sound fun, doesn't it?
I mean, I'd want to roll around in a tank.
Mm. Oh,
Just imagine that cover of it. Just they see me rolling in my tank.
people think it's actually way harder to get a gun in Australia than it really is. Like we have not a massive hunting culture, but it is relatively big, and we have like a lot of animals that are obviously worth hunting. Like we have a pig problem, we have a kangaroo problem, and it's very like if you have like a legitimate reason to get a gun, it's very easy to get one here as long as you don't have a criminal record. Like sport shooting, hunting, range shooting, any of those reasons will be enough to get you a gun. You just have to wait a long time, and it's expensive because we don't have many guns, so the prices are obviously more.
Yeah, makes sense. I've actually been meaning to get one myself just for home defense. And like I remember something like you don't even want like a handgun for home defense, but you want something like a shotgun because the pellets are less likely to break through walls to, you know, go through and go into somebody else's house. So you wanted to actually use a larger firearm than a handgun.
I didn't realize that was the reason you want a shotgun. I thought it would be that it's just takes less skill to actually hit someone with it, especially in a tight space.
Well, I mean that's a factor too. That factor, but then also you get the people who immediately like some people are afraid of dogs barking at you. Some people are afraid when they hear the
yeah,
so
that would definitely help. Now
but,
you definitely don't want a semi-auto. You need the pump action if you're going to be doing it for home defense.
yeah. But yeah, it was something I read somewhere about how just because of the size of the projectile that shotguns are less likely to break through walls and that it's an issue because you need to know like what's through your target and you don't always want to be firing a slug in the general direction of your neighbor's house.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be a good. Well, even just in the general direction of someone's bedroom.
Yeah, because I remember seeing plenty of news stories about people who use handguns for home defense versus shotguns, and it ends up like some child gets hurt or killed.
Geez. I'm pretty sure you can't get a gun here for home defense, which is interesting. Like, if you have a gun in your house here, you have to have it locked up in, like, basically just, what's the word? Pretty much a safe. You have to have a gun safe for it. You can't
I
have
think
them
that's
just
the
sitting
same
around.
here. I think it's pretty much the same here. I'm not too big on the stuff. I don't know. I haven't done my research because I haven't gotten close to buying one yet. But when I do, I will. But if I remember, like you need to have your handguns like locked up in a box with some sort of like security closure so that children or other people cannot easily access it. But that, you know, if you have an easy access system, you know, use it for home defense, but that you still need to have it under lock.
I know that it's very state dependent here. We're pretty consistent with our gun laws across all of the states. Like,
Oh, we're not.
yeah, you can go to Texas, and is it Texas you can have open carry?
I think I think Texas is open carry,
I know there's a
and
lot
then
of
they
states
have
that
like
are
a
open
buy
carry.
one. I think they get like a buy one get one free discount with like you buy a diamond ring, you get a gun. Like celebrate your marriage, buy a gun.
Hey, it's not the worst idea. Got to shoot some pigeons or something. They throw instead of giving them rice, just shoot them with a shotgun or something. That'll work. You're gonna kill them
Yeah, they're
anyway.
pests somewhere. They're pests somewhere.
They are pests somewhere. We've been going
Yeah.
for quite a while now, haven't we? It's 11:30 a.m. here, or nearly 11:30.
It's 7 here, and
Oh wow.
she's asleep, so I'm good.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So
Yeah,
what was
no-
that other channel you were talking about? I briefly heard you mention it on a live stream.
My other channel?
So the other business you were working on.
Oh, so I've had a leatherworking business for a number of years. I want to say probably maybe 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So I have a whole workshop in my house, and I make and sell leather goods. I have a shop on Etsy. I got like over almost 150 sales, all 5-star ratings. But I have a business where I create leather goods, and I also perform at Renaissance fairs. Not specifically Renaissance fairs, but I perform as a historical reenactor. So it's less on the I dress up and look like an elf, and more of the I actually research history and dress as historical figures used to, and inform the public on the way lives were at those times. And I focus on, I did Scottish history and battle tactics. We were in this like militarized group where we would actually do battle formations as infantrymen using only Scottish Gaelic as the communication. So like you would hear Scottish Gaelic, and we would actually be doing military formations. I did that for about 3 years, and then I joined a actual Viking guild, which does Viking historical reenactment from between 700 to 11 or 1200 AD. So pretty much the peak of the Viking Age. And we go to these fairs, and I have a little setup where I'm building. I'm still new to the guild, so I'm still acquiring my my display and my setup, but I do a little bit of a leather setup there and describe Viking Age leatherwork. I've mentioned in some of my videos how I was actually researching leatherwork and doing my notes in LaTeX and Markdown and stuff. But it's a leatherworking business, and it's still active. I jacked my prices up because I wasn't really willing to do a lot of hand sewing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody was going to buy something, it was going to be worth my time to do it. So that, and I also rolled free shipping into the price. But I just bought a sewing machine to ease production, because the thing I dislike most is having to do a lot of the hand sewing.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I'm going to be able to ramp up production, drop prices, and do more. But also I can do video with it. And some people really like the aesthetics of like watching leatherwork happen on video. So I'm just going to try and like revive that channel a little bit. The channel only has like 2 videos on it. And if you search for Norseman Leatherworks on YouTube, you will see it. I think it's the top suggested one, but that's the channel. And yeah, I make a variety of things. I do sometimes custom orders. I've made knife sheaths. I've made Renaissance fair armor, bags, wallets. I made my own wallet. I still use it. Card holders, belts, just a lot of the simple things until now I get my sewing machine. I can do some of the more advanced stuff that takes a lot of sewing.
That is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good hobby that's paid for itself. I've been doing it for about 5 years, and I just reinvest most of the money I make with it into the business because I just like buying new tools.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just like I have a cool business that really just helps me buy more shit for the business. So I don't really ever make any money from it. It's kind of just like I don't have to spend my own money on the business. But I think by now I probably got like $5,000 invested in just tools, materials, raw materials, and other stuff. Well, 6 now because I bought the sewing machine. But yeah,
That is awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine the crossover between Vikings and Linux users is very high.
yeah, that's why I already had a separate channel. I already had a separate business channel that I just neglected, and I made this one for specifically Linux and tech and software because I kind of just have so many weird eccentric interests that are in just completely different spheres that it's kind of hard to manage sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I really love tech and software and code, and I've been like deep diving into that for over 3 years and just super into that. But I'm also into like data science and R and reporting and aesthetic documents and academia. I'm getting into now, so that's why I'm going back to school for data science and data analytics. But then I also have the whole uniboomer in a cabin type thing where I want to like grow my own food and live in a forest, which is our plan eventually is to do that. But then I also have a business where I do like a physical craft, and then I go and perform at Renaissance fairs. Like, there's no way of capturing all of this on one channel.
Yeah, it would have to be a vlog channel, and anything besides that, it wouldn't work. But if you wanted to give each of the different subjects the proper care they do deserve different channels.
I thought about doing some vlogs, but then I'm like, I just feel like that format is weird for me. Like, I just don't feel like I'd be good at doing vlogs. When it comes to like informational, like, here's what I did on Linux and here's how I did it, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
If it's for leatherwork, it's just like, look at me make the thing. But yeah, I've talked with my girlfriend about doing a vlog together on a separate channel. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I don't know how well I do with it. I think she'd do better than me. She actually watches vlog channels. I don't really.
Well, I guess it would be kind of like just starting the regular Linux stuff, where it's very very much a growing experience. The early stuff you're gonna look on, you're gonna be proud of it when you make it, and then you're gonna look back and it's like, that was really bad.
All the cringe.
Especially if you try to make a joke and you go back and like, wow, my comedic timing was not there. It was really bad.
Oh, that's my baseline.
I did notice that since your earlier videos, you have actually decided to clean up your kitchen, because in some of those early ones, the bench was just an absolute mess.
Sometimes we do spring cleaning.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we kind of just well, we're all working from home these days, so it kind of just builds up really quickly, and I get kind of lazy during the week, so I just do it on the weekends, and that's when I shoot my videos. So sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's not.
That is a good way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, I just kind of try to manage it and do it on the weekends.
Yeah, I just managed to frame my shot in a way that it looks like my room's clean. Because I live in a share house right now, so I don't really have the ability to record anywhere else. But if I just slightly move the webcam, like, let's see. So we have my light sitting on like a shelf there. My desk is like a mess. Like, this side is kind of just as bad.
You got one of the cool keyboards, though.
I do. Well, okay, to be fair, it's not actually that... It was kind of cheap. I like scissor switches. It was a really cheap scissor switch keyboard. I know someone's going to probably leave a thing in the comments saying scissor switch is garbage. I still don't care. But yeah, it's a... If anyone wants it, it's a Cougar Vantar. I like it. It's nice. Because I've been using a laptop for so long, I like the laptop style switches.
Yeah, when I'm at work, and because we all have laptops and dock stations, I don't like my laptop keys, but I don't like the standard keyboards they give us in state service.
Oh yeah, I brought like cheap Dell keyboard or something, isn't it? It's like those ones you see like everywhere. They don't care about the keyboard; it's just the keyboard.
Yes. So I bought a nice mechanical one, and I forget the name and brand, but I saw like some review on it, and it's got the nice clickety. I think it's got blue MX Blues.
Can I just see that logo on there? I think I recognized it. Oh, I have no idea what that is. Okay.
But yeah, it's got that cool. Like if I ever switch to the Nord theme, which is what I would switch to if I didn't have Grovebox, is that this switches up to only blue, so I can get it like Arctic looking.
That actually is pretty cool.
So I use that mostly at work just for comfort of typing, and have to just annoy everyone around me because I don't like them talking to me.
Yeah, blues. I feel I've used blues before, but they're a bit of a problem for videos.
Yeah, that's why for most of my videos for the channel, I typically just use my ThinkPad keyboard, and I don't know if I can ever get away from ThinkPads because this keyboard on the X220 is just, it is the sweet spot of keyboards. It is perfect. I love it.
I will eventually get a ThinkPad. I keep telling myself I'm going to get one, but I'll eventually get one. It'll probably be a test machine.
Yeah.
I'll put like, I don't know, Void or something on it, whatever I want to mess with at the time.
I got two X220s, and they are pretty cheap. I think I got the i5 was like $80 because I got a good deal on eBay. The i7 was a little pricier, but I got it with just like a 28 gigabyte hard drive, which is just trash. And then I just switched out the RAM, switched out the hard drive, and I kind of swapped some parts between them.
Mm-hmm. But
this thing, like altogether, cost me like maybe a little over $200, maybe less. But for that and the amount of what it can do, I mean, I can't do really good streaming. I can stream. I can't do great streaming, and I can't do any gaming on this. But everything else I want to do, it handles just fine. And the keyboard is so nice. Plus, it's like hefty enough that you could easily just bludgeon someone with this thing, and the laptop would be fine.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's like standard ThinkPad.
I've gotten too used to working with Kdenlive at this point. I couldn't go back to something that I couldn't properly or couldn't quickly encode on. Like, I've tried to do. You've probably noticed it throughout this podcast. I'm really bad at speaking, so I have to cut my videos a lot. And it's just easier to do that in Kdenlive.
I tried to do some like jump cut stuff because sometimes I get little pauses, and I was using OpenShot a little bit just because it was good enough just to do cuts, which is really all I was doing. But yeah, I'm thankful that somewhat I can speak decently, but sometimes I just, at this point, I just can't edit on this laptop or any of my laptops because it's just, they just can't handle it anymore, even with everything else closed. And, setting the nice level to -20 still doesn't even help.
I know you can do cuts with FFmpeg, but not being able to see
Yeah,
you can, but not being able to see exactly where you're cutting, you have to have like a separate window to see exactly where you're cutting. It's a bit of a mess.
And when I was just like, really, Luke, you edit this way? Because he said he does that way.
He doesn't edit. That's the point.
He does sometimes. And when he does, he's using FFmpeg to edit his videos.
I think the most I've ever seen him edit was his Arch Linux install, where he would like cut out the waiting times, and that's all.
I did set up some scripts for myself. Like if I was actually going to do FFmpeg, I could easily just have a window with MPV open and the video there. But I set up some scripts so that instead of, because FFmpeg likes to say, start and end time of your cut clip is in seconds. I don't want to have to do math. So I just made a simple like script with some multiplication in Bash, and just I have minute, second for start and stop. And I can easily just do my cuts that way. And then the other script will just easily take the list of all the file names, which you could easily grab with ls, and just merge that way. So I mean, it wouldn't be too horrible if all you're doing is making jump cuts.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just a graphical program can do it better. It's just
Yeah. Well, also with the fact that I've also done, actually one of my viewers did work on something cool. I don't know if you've ever watched the end of one of my videos where I have the transition now into the thing where I'm showing the patron list. Someone actually worked out how to do that with FFmpeg, and it is awesome. So I could do my workflow if I wanted to.
I would love to see that because I got my first patron myself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'd like to see like how that works. Is it just like editing the text into it, or what are you doing?
Basically, what I'm doing in Kdenlive is I have a background image, and then I shrink my video to like fit inside of a little box. And the dude's managed to work out a way to do that in FFmpeg, and I have no idea how he's done it. I will need to ask him about the actual script. But yeah, because Kdenlive is basically a front end for FFmpeg anyway, so pretty much everything is a front end for FFmpeg.
And I do like it.
Yeah.
It
It's really powerful.
I
It's like
like
image magic. It's awesome, and you can do lots of stuff with it if you want to put the effort into it.
yeah. I do like the screencasts, the between FFmpeg, MAME, and ImageMagick, the kind of stuff that you can do with that with media is just awesome.
Yeah.
Like my screenshots are great, screencasting is great, audio recordings, and then getting into YouTube DL too, just yanking all that stuff out. Oh, it's just so good.
I don't typically use YouTube DL too much. I
Oh, I use it all the time.
Yeah, I'm not as much of a terminal user as you are. I have the terminal there for a lot of stuff. Like when I'm trying to do serious work, I'll use it, but a lot of my other stuff, I'm happy to do in the web browser.
I do a lot of stuff in the browser that I have to, but I have been trying to minimize and get away from it as much as possible. And not for any other reason other than just I've grown to be so much more comfortable in the terminal.
Mhm.
And with YouTube DL, I mean, what you're doing for grabbing your videos is so simple. I don't even watch YouTube in YouTube anymore. I just have Newsboat and I open it by piping the output to MPV.
Yeah, you can get the
And
RSS feed for a channel, yeah.
yep, I made that whole video about, and everyone told me about better ways to do it in the comments. But
Absolutely.
I got the whole all of my like 200 almost subs into Newsboat, and then I have it all tagged. I can easily go to just YouTube content, or I can just go to my main query feed, which I sent you a comment I think about query feeds. Did you look into that?
Query feeds. I don't recall doing that.
There's
Let me find it.
yeah, it wasn't in your video. I was suggesting it to you for like something cool that you could set up. I got it from another user on YouTube called Get Bletu or something.
Oh,
He's another
yeah.
yeah. So he set up this. He has a crap load of query feeds, but I just have like one for things that I like added a flag to, like, hey, I really want to pay attention to that later, or like all things that are unread for all of everything.
Mhm.
And so it's just a simple like one-liner that will pull out things based on a query, and it just pulls in a custom feed of whatever you want. So you could set it up to be like all of my unread items, which I do, because instead of having all my things separately, if I only want to watch videos, I can go to my YouTube tag. But if I just want to go through all of my content and start ticking off everything that is unread, then I can go to my query feed, which is typically what I do.
Yeah, I'll have a look into that. I mainly just use RSS for podcasts and my news. Everything else I'm happy to do with the web browser pretty much, but just because YouTube DL does have some problems, especially with some content where it will only pull in a lower quality video, it really depends on what YouTube is doing that day. Generally, you can get the 720p video, but it does have a bit of issues sometimes.
I haven't had any problems with Newsboat, and I have everything in there. I got my Twitter, my podcast, Reddit, YouTube, blogs, journals, articles, everything. I just found the RSS stuff for everything. I'm gonna send you something in the comment right here.
Yeah.
Just add this to your Newsboat, preferably probably at the top. Mm-hmm. Just that single line in your URLs file, and then you'll have a new tag just called unread, and it will be every single unread item you have.
That is awesome.
I'm a pretty big fan of it. I went through and read all of the docs for Newsboat.
Jesus.
What else? Can find some good in-depth, but I did find some good nuggets of information. Like I got my own custom color theming on it now. You can modify that with some stuff, and then Got Bledu had a really good amount of stuff on Newsboat, so I watched like all of his videos on it and got some good things. It's really awesome. I consume all my media through that now. I get no ads. I can easily just, I don't know, you don't get clickbaited into anything really. You don't see any ads. You don't get lost in a YouTube algorithm for recommendations. If you're trying to save some time, it's great. If you're trying to support YouTube channels, content creators, you probably want to use the browser. But, I don't have a lot of spare time, so it's kind of useful.
Well, honestly, I use AdBlock anyway, and I would recommend most people do it. If you want to support a creator, it's probably better to do it through other methods. Like even giving someone like $1 a month That is more than you would ever be giving them from ads.
That's true. Yeah, Patreon and all the supporting methods these days.
Or if the person's on Library, just give them a small tip on Library, and that's way more than they would have made from YouTube.
I got Library, BAT, PayPal, Patreon. I made it easy. Whatever your format is, I can take it.
I think I've had someone request some weird one, and I was like, okay, you're the one person who said this. Do I want to go and bother doing that? Maybe.
Do you accept a money order through the U.S. Postal Service?
I don't know, mate. If someone wanted to do it, I would look into it. For enough money, I would do it.
I would find a way to take your money. It was really cool that I got my first patron, and he's at a high enough tier. It was actually for the $50 tier.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised, and so like at the tier, it's kind of like, yeah, you get to have like one-on-one calls, and you get to be a part of like this group call for the next tier down. Mm-hmm. But like the guy was trying to set up LARBs actually, and so he was having some trouble because he didn't want the DWM build of it, and selecting i3 from that. There was about a bug that Luke fixed this morning about how even though you selected i3, it would still some sed command wasn't working, so it would still actually set you up with DWM, and it was a bitch to fix. So this guy and I were on a call last night, a video call, setting up his system and troubleshooting some of this stuff. And so that's like what I was doing with him, like, thanks for being my patron. And, I thank you for the support, so I'm going to support you. So we were like, you want to set up LARBs? That's cool. I'm going to help you do that. And we're just trying to work through it until we found out that it was just a bug that Luke fixed this morning. And now he's got i3. So now my goal of what he wants is he wants to steal my status bar with my the way I've changed it now.
Oh, is this the guy you were talking about earlier? You said that someone wanted to use your status bar earlier, yeah.
Yeah, so he wants my status bar with the current icons, colors, and grub box, everything that I have. It's not Luke's default. And so now that I'm messing with GNU Stow, I'm trying to get that finished probably tonight after this, and then have those dot files up so that he can grab everything. But yeah, it was actually really cool. I was not expecting somebody to just go straight to that tier, so that was really cool.
That is awesome. I think my highest right now is $32, but this dude also gave me 300 euros.
Damn.
Because I had a can of whiskey on a premixed can of whiskey on my desk, and he was like, that's shit, buy a better bottle of whiskey, and just gave me 300 euros for it. It's like,
that's legit.
Okay, thank you.
So what did you buy with it?
I barely have a job right now, so my rent.
Fair enough. That is maybe a little bit higher priority than whiskey.
A little bit, yeah. But I will have to buy something nice at some point.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I did end up losing 2 patrons after that distro watch video.
Maybe it was the typo in the thumbnail.
Maybe it was. I didn't feel like fixing it. I got lazy.
Fair enough. Oh, man.
I don't know. I felt like it was a fine video. And it seemed like most of the comments were pretty positive. But doing anything like that, you're always going to have someone who comes out like, no, you're always wrong. Yeah. Anything that's slightly negative, there's going to be someone who pops up to just be angry about it.
I mean, I thought it was fine. You perfectly explained why it's not a good and accurate gauge of usage. Yeah. And so did DT, so.
Was MX Linux the one at the top when DT did it as well?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was just yours, which is also I never even heard of that.
Yeah. There was one guy on Mastodon who was like, MX Linux is running a botnet to keep themselves at the top of DistroWatch. It's like, maybe, but I don't know. I don't have any proof of that.
That comment alone gets a heart from me. That's great. We all know that Plan 9 is the most used distribution.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, if it was a legit list, Ubuntu would be at the top and then nothing else. That would be the only thing on the
Yeah.
list. Maybe
Yeah.
Debian in second place for servers as well, but besides that,
Oh, let me go turn on the light. It's getting dark.
it is getting dark, yeah. I'm surprised the podcast's been going for this long, to be honest. Welcome back.
Ugh. Yeah, real quick. I'm in my kitchen, basically.
Yeah, well, I can see the oven, so...
Yep. Yeah, we got our desks out here, so it's easy just to walk to the fridge.
Yeah. I used to have my desk in the kitchen, or I guess it was in my old house, like back when I lived with my parents. It was kind of like an open plan thing, so you have like the living room and the kitchen all like merged into one.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you've got the same thing, don't you?
Yep, that's the living room right there. It's the kitchen.
Yeah, this place
No
here,
walls.
it's a bit more of like a stretched out place. So you walk in the front door and you got like a line of bedrooms and then kitchen in like a little cut off space. That makes it sound like the place is far more expensive than it is. No, it's actually like a little small house. It's just in a relatively nice area that's getting built up around us. So
That university life.
I am like, yeah, it is nice share housing for university life, that's for sure. Because I don't really have to worry about bills too much. My expenditure is pretty much nothing.
Yeah, we have a house here, and California, US in general, it's expensive. California's really expensive, so that's why we work for the man.
Mm-hmm.
So we can afford our style of living.
Yeah, I do want to eventually get a house, but it's much cheaper to do it here. Like, if I wanted to get a real cheap house, I could go rural and get like a 6-acre property for like 200,000, which 200,000 Australian is like 150 US.
150K here in the US would buy, well, in California, would buy you a hut with holes in the roof. And they'd say 5-star accommodations, modern appliances. It's a freaking hut.
Yeah, man, it's so much cheaper. Okay, well, general living expenses in Australia are more, but when it comes to housing, people talk about, oh, the housing is so expensive. If you leave the city, no, it's not. It's actually really cheap.
Well, the farther you get out from here, depending on the city, it's kind of like a wave. Like if you're in the city, it's high. You get a little bit away from the city, it's low. You get out in the boonies, it's high again because people out there like to build their retirement mansions.
Right, yeah. For me, it gets high when you get towards the river, because a lot of people like to buy like riverside properties, and they will be literal sheds that will sell for 500,000-600,000.
I mean, if you can get it at a good deal, it's a good investment, but
Oh, absolutely,
yikes.
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of towns up where my parents are living now that have like 50 people living there, and you can get really cheap places there, but they barely have electricity. But when they start getting built up because people want holiday homes, price just skyrockets.
It's crazy. My family's got some property that the family acquired it in like the 1940s for like, I think like $300 or something like that. In 1940, we got like 80 acres of the national forest up north in California. And so it's like, it was a group of people that went in on it, but my family owns most of the like shares now. But there's like a bunch of like cabins we have out there for vacations. And, my family's got a cabin. We've had it since the 40s. And we maintain it and get to go up to the forest for like a week every year if I want.
That is awesome.
Definitely good for keeping sane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like that my parents live out rural, because as much as I love being like in a suburban area, sometimes it gets a bit much. Sometimes I just want to go somewhere where there's no people and I just want to relax.
Yeah, I find it difficult to unplug from technology given my proclivity for it. So I can't just easily close the laptop and read a book at home, which I dislike because I really love reading.
Mhm.
And I've been reading, I'm a voracious reader if I don't have my laptop. So I usually like to go up to my family's cabin every year for at least a week and just do like a read week.
Mhm.
And I'll read like a stack of books a couple feet high in like a week. I'll just sit there and read a stack of books, and it's the greatest.
Yeah, my reading is mainly like I try to give myself a bit of time before I go to bed, just so I'm not staring at my phone just until I go to sleep. This is real terrible for you. So, like, I've got a shelf of anime nonsense up here, and like, there's like a ton of stuff in there. Let's see if we can fix this. There, is it? Are we caught on something? Yeah, we'll. Okay, it's wrapped around a thing. Okay, I can't show you. My cables are all a mess. I was going to show you the bookshelf, but it's not happening. I need to sort out these cables. But yeah, it's just an entire bookshelf full of anime nonsense. And that's usually what I read before I go to bed. Generally, I find it difficult to read something that's actually heavy when I'm trying to sleep, because if it's like that, it's like, oh, I'm just going to fall asleep reading the book. Like, I do have some computer science books that I do need to get around to reading. And it's just like, those are the ones I don't really have time to read because I want to properly absorb the knowledge. Whereas something like this, I don't care. I'm just reading a story, basically.
I got something similar. I was doing the same thing to limit the screen time right before sleeping. I actually should probably pick that back up. But what I was doing was when I need to read like heavy content that I actually need to like internalize and digest, what I typically do is I will pick like a set number of pages or a chapter, depending on how long chapters are, and I'll just put sticky notes or little flag stickies in it, and then say like, on this day I'm going to read a chapter, the next day I'm going to read a chapter, and like make it like a visual goal. That helps me for that. But when it comes to like right before bed, I will typically only read like fiction because it's not something you need to really think about. It's kind of like watching a mental movie.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of like read it, relax, and then get tired and go to sleep. So I actually have a project I've been working on for like the last 4 years or something, because I'm not good about keeping up on my reading. But I wanted to reread all the fiction I read as a kid and a teenager growing up. And it's been taking a while because I read a lot because I didn't have a lot of time and I wasn't as into tech as I am now. So I did a lot of reading, and I'm trying to still catch up on it because most of what I did when I was actually using a computer was honestly just playing Diablo 2. So that was about it.
I think if I tried to do that, it would take like a day. Because I didn't read much as a kid. I just played video games all the time.
I played a good amount of video games. A lot of like handheld stuff. I mean, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games, PS1, PS2. I remember playing on Sega Dreamcast. I'm old enough, not too old, but SNES. I still have my SNES and Super Mario Brothers. So I mean, that's for like when one day if there's like little kids trying to play video games at my house, I could be like, "We're gonna play SNES," and they're like, "What is that?" They're probably already like that. So
I was gonna ask you. I have no idea how old you are. I can't work it out.
How old do you think I am?
I would say the fact that you mentioned your SNES, I would have to say probably late 20s at least.
Close.
Early 30s.
I am.
Then. Like
no, close as in like I thought you were going to keep going for the mark. I'm
okay.
27.
Oh, you're 27. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you meant close as in like close guess or something. Whatever. Just yeah. It made sense in my head.
Part. Yeah, I'm 27.
27. Yeah,
Yeah, I got that nice big
22
looming number
year.
that all those looming 90s kids are all like, I'm a 90s kid. And then there's 30 over here just like, sneaking up on you.
I'm just in that window where I can call myself a 90s kid, even though I don't remember a second of the 90s.
I got 92, so I think like most crowds consider me a 90s kid.
Yeah, because I was born in 98, it would be, yeah.
Yeah, I was in 92, and my sister was in 95. So when we look at those like nostalgia posts of the 90s, like all those people making nostalgia posts, I recognize almost everything. She's a little bit less, like she doesn't recognize as much as I do. But yeah, I'm definitely, I grew up 90s kid.
Yeah, my sister was born 2000, which is
Hmm.
she can forever call herself a millennium child,
True millennial.
true millennial. Actually, no. Well, a millennial isn't even someone born at the turn of the millennium.
Right, that's Gen Z,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I
Bummer.
fit
That was a
well within
wasted
the
naming
Zoomer
opportunity.
category.
That was a wasted naming opportunity.
It really
Almost as bad as
was.
my Flash script.
Oh yeah, you can still fix that.
I did.
You did, okay.
I did it right after your video came out. Like, okay, that's one people too many that said that to me. And then I figured out, oh, wait, GitHub repos, as long as you don't make a duplicate repository, it'll still refer all of those old URLs to the new
It
repo. I'm
will,
like,
yes.
oh, then that sells it for me. So I changed it immediately because I thought it was just going to break all the old links.
Yeah, I thought the same thing as well because someone recommended I don't know, some sort of program to me, and they told me the developer for it, but the developer changed their name on GitHub, and it just redirected everything to it. So it was an old link, and it was like, oh, it just works fine. Like, that's cool. Thank you, GitHub. That's how you actually design a website.
Yeah, robust links.
Unlike Twitter, where my Twitter links are now broken, which I think I fixed them all now.
Well, if I find any more, I'll let you know.
I think, no, BitChute I haven't updated, but I also don't have videos on BitChute because YouTube Sync doesn't work.
It works for me. Oh, wait, BitChute or BitTube?
Shoot.
Oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
BitTube works fine. I didn't know you were on BitTube.
Yeah, I just have it synced automatically. I only have one subscriber.
Yeah, that's pretty much how BitTube goes.
Yeah, I just have it just to have it, but
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
If it takes off, it takes off. If it doesn't, whatever.
Then it's just another way of people to get to YouTube if they want to go there. But if they're on BitTube, they probably don't. So,
Yeah. I do want to actually branch out and try out some of the other crypto platforms. Like, I have a Steemit account. I haven't used it much though. There's another one called like 3Speak and a couple others like that, which I do want to start using. But
haven't heard of those.
there's a guy called Scott C Business who he uploads his content basically anywhere that content can be uploaded. If you want to have a look at some of the crypto platforms, here's a good place to start. Yeah, because it's not too much extra work to upload to the platforms. It is nice to have that syncing, but if you're just re-uploading content, it takes like, what, 10, 15 minutes, depending on your upload speed.
I mean, if you've already made the video and the thumbnail, you're pretty much good.
Yeah, it's just copying the description and stuff over.
Yeah.
Do I have anything left on this list? Did we hit everything? I think I actually have hit every single one of the topics. Huh. That's impressive. Usually it doesn't happen.
Through sheer serendipity.
Well, generally, a lot of the previous people I've had on have just been my friends, so I'll just talk about random shit with them.
Well, isn't that kind of how this one went a little bit?
A little bit, but it usually gets worse. Like, the one that came out today on YouTube, I had one of my mates who's an official Snapchat Lens creator.
I watched like the first half hour of it while I was working today.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. He's a character.
I actually had to stop it. I had to stop it because we were actually had to set up for this. But yeah, I liked all the talk of shit posting as filters.
I don't know what he was doing that entire time. It gets worse as the video goes on.
Or better, depending on your outlook of it.
I guess so. Like, he's got a potato filter that he switches to at some point.
I did see that clip.
God, I've known that dude for years now. That's one of the things that uni actually is really good for. If you go into like a tech niche or anything like that, you do meet a lot of people who have a lot of similar stuff to what you do, but then you'll also speak to them about something and be like, oh, I do Snapchat lenses, or I make this, or I make that. it's nice to be able to have people who have that one niche in common, and then just see all the other random stuff that they're also interested in. Uni is a really good place to find people like that.
I have something similar. I never went to a four-year university, and my community college was basically just everyone from my high school. So it was kind of just like, I'm already tired of all of you, so I'm just going to go to class and then go home.
Yeah.
But I actually ran one of the larger, if not largest, one of the largest parkour groups in California for like almost 7 years.
Okay.
And yeah, we would do events, set up, train, do all that stuff like you see on YouTube, shoot videos and whatever. Mm-hmm. But through that, you actually do meet a lot of the most random people from every sort of walk of life. So I got a lot of people I know who do a lot of weird things. So just the other day, I was actually talking with a friend of mine who also goes to the Renaissance fairs. He actually is a vendor, so he actually sells his leather work there actually at fairs because he produces, and that's his sole business and income.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him because there's a specific tool that goes around some of the stamps that we will place, hammer into the leather to make designs and impressions, but it gets really hard on your hands. So there's this little leather like stopper looking thing that you put around it to grip. Mm-hmm. So it just saves your hands. The place where he's bought these from doesn't sell anymore. They don't produce them. They don't even have anywhere they can even find them anymore. And they even looked for me, and I don't know anybody else selling them. So I'm like, crap. So I asked a friend of mine who does some 3D printing. Turns out he's like some VP CTO, something with like a degree in electrical engineering now. Cause like, I remember him when he was like in high school, and he was like pointing me to this website and like helped me figure out where to find some resource that would actually be basically this piece of rubber that sticks around my tool to save my grip. And it's for like $2. But he was already like getting plans, like how can I 3D print and manufacture this on like a massive scale for you? It's like that kind of randomness. Like I know just random people that, oh yeah, sure, that's a possibility. I have access.
You cut out right at the end when you were saying that. Just that last thing you said.
Oh, I already forgot what I said.
But yeah, I know the feeling you're talking about, where you just meet these people and just like you have this common interest, and then they'll have just some just really weird side interest they have. Like honestly, finding out you had that leather business was weird enough, but I've met so many people like that. Like the guy who did my channel art, he's someone I met at uni, and the first time I went shooting was with a guy that I knew from uni. It's just like, okay, because I guess there are those people you do meet that are just singly focused on one thing, but I've never been the sort of person where I can just say, I only want to do Linux stuff, I only want to do tech stuff, or anything like that. Obviously, I have a lot of tech interests, but being so singly minded on one thing, it's not something I can ever do.
It just makes you a more robust and well-rounded person to have multiple interests.
Sure,
like my first business, I went to school for physical education. I was big into kinesiology and fitness training. I actually, by the time I entered college, I already owned a fitness training business. So I actually was just going for the paper at that point in a field I was already working in and studied. Like as much as I studied computer science and stuff, that's how I apply that level of learning and study is what I applied to that. And so I was like really into that for almost a decade, and then started getting more into tech, into my career, and now I'm into this. And I have my leather business. I did during my fitness time. I also did like parkour for almost a decade. Like you get a lot of experiences, meet a lot of random people. It just makes you a better, more well-rounded person, and gives you a better network too.
Mm. Yeah, even though at this point, my network that I've built up with uni, I don't even know if I'm going to use it. Like, as much as I love programming, the more I find out about corporate programming work, the less I want to do it. Like, just that sort of atmosphere in the corporate sphere. It's like, do I want this to be my life?
I'm kind of on the fence about it myself. Like, I like building my own stuff and fiddling with my own system, but some of the the bad design choices, just the tech stack they either are forced to use,
Angular
or
1.
that. Yeah, it's just, or just people who don't want to follow conventions or documentation very well. Like your video on the suckless documentation, I'm just like, yes, yeah, it can definitely be a bad time because it's such cerebral work that if you don't like it or don't like what you're doing, it can be a real drag, and that's coming from experience.
Yeah, well, my one web dev job, I was basically the sole developer, and the other person on the team was doing the back end stuff, but I kind of had to rewrite the back end because he had to go on holiday for a while. So I was the sole developer on the project, and I would then communicate with the client and say, okay, I'll give the client a design, I will implement that, and then I'm the only one actually touching the code. And if I'm the only one touching the code, I am the only one responsible for it to be a complete mess. So I kind of feel like I have a deeper understanding of what's happening with it than you would if, say, you're working with a team of people and they might be great programmers. I'm not saying they can't be great programmers. You could be working with like amazing people, but everyone has their own little sort of habits that they pick up when they program. And if you don't have a good understanding of it, and if they don't document it and they're doing something weird, it just becomes a real mess to work with. That's what it's like working on my honors project right now, where we started with this code base that's like 20,000 lines long of really terribly abstracted C# code. There's like, there's inheritance for no reason. There's just classes embedded in classes when they should be separate classes. You don't know where they're being created. And it's just a mess to work with, and none of it's commented. So the suckless stuff was like, that was the catalyst for that video, but it wasn't the only reason I made that video. My honors project has been really driving me up the wall lately. So
I would just be happy if
that.
I would just be happy if people would keep and maintain a change log. If I could just get that, I would at least be just mildly more happy with that.
My bare minimum is give me at least like a one line telling me what your function is supposed to be doing. Like, I don't care about the internals of it. What is this function supposed to be doing? Because I can't, similar to your government job, I can't really say too much about this because this is for the CSIRO, the Commonwealth Science and International Research Organization. So I can't say too much about the internals of it, but there are functions called things like RSPCP_1. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know.
The acronym PCP could mean a variety of either interesting or bad things.
Well, I know what a PCP is in this context. It's not that. It's a parallel coordinate plot.
So PCP in the context of my girlfriend and I, we work for the same department in the same unit. For PCP for us, it would be a primary care provider for
I was thinking the drug.
healthcare. No. Well, I mean, that depends on if the patient's taken one, but yeah.
This project is... the one thing I do like about this project, though, is there are some little jokes in it. Like, when you grab an access to, like... It's a visualization tool to, like, work with big data. So you can grab an axis and like bring it over like one of the parallel coordinate plots, and it will create connections that are basically from that plot to the other plot. So data that is in both, it will create connections between the two. And that action is called angel dusting, which is amusing. And if you know...
Okay, we have PCP, we have cocaine. What other drug name functions do you have?
I haven't spotted any others, but it is amusing that those do pop up.
You should keep a list of these.
I should. But it's a common thing in like programming in general. Like, have you seen how many instances of the word fuck are in the Linux kernel?
No, but I think I remember hearing about it, that it was an inordinate amount.
There's a website that keeps track of things like shit, fuck, and a bunch of other words that are in the Linux kernel. And there's like a graph. You might enjoy it because it actually graphs the changes over time and how much it increases and decreases.
I want that link. If you have it, I want it.
I'll see if I can find it.
I remember seeing an article about the Windows kernel and about people putting the same thing in the Windows kernel because, I mean, if they're working on Windows, you already know that that level is going to be a lot higher.
Well, yeah, because it's also proprietary, so no one outside of the company is going to see it, so...
So it's just all kinds of internal junk.
Windows is a mess, though. Like, that kernel just... I don't think they can recover from it at this point, because they've got 20 plus years of backwards compatibility built into it. You can still run Windows 98 apps, and they'll still probably work.
Yeah, especially the files, like even though we have the new docx files or any of the new X files, which are basically XML documents, all of the old ones still open. And they support backward compatibility for, like you said, just about everything. Yeah. And then they started with GUI before command line. So their command line, everything is automatically borked, even with PowerShell, which I really don't like PowerShell.
No. Well, okay, PowerShell is better than the alternative, but I still would rather Bash.
Yes. I mean, when I go to PowerShell, I still try a few different, core util commands. Some of them work.
Yeah, some of them are alias to their equivalents in PowerShell, which is nice.
But for the most part, I wish we could just use Bash at work, but I also don't want to put in the effort to learn PowerShell to be as effective on my work machine as I am on my home machine. At this point, I'm just like, if you wanted me to be that productive, you could give me Bash or WSL.
Yeah, well, I feel like WSL will start growing, but there's still so much legacy stuff where it's like, we have built everything around PowerShell. We cannot leave PowerShell.
Yeah.
Especially in a government situation like you have.
Oh, yeah. The tech in government is especially conservative because of stability. And like there's some things that are still around from the 80s. A lot of governments and banks, airlines, a lot of them, like you've seen in the news, actually, no, you're not in America. Maybe you've seen the American news about how there's again, a shortage of COBOL programmers because COBOL is still widely utilized by these sectors that rely on high stability and high traffic for mainframes pushing data. So it's a lot of government agencies, and I think it was like New Jersey here in America that was saying, we have a critical shortage of COBOL programmers. We need them for actual government projects that need to be maintained. And it's kind of hilarious.
We have the same problem here. I haven't heard about an American context. I think the last big American tech thing related to that we heard about here was back when some sort of branch of your military was upgrading their their missile control systems from using floppy disks, and that was last year or something.
I didn't hear about that, but I am not surprised.
Well, if it works, there's no point touching it. That's the thing. Especially when it's something true. That mission critical. If it works, don't touch it. Just leave it.
Yeah, you don't want to be suddenly giving control to a missile guidance system to a Python script.
Yeah. Especially one that your intern wrote.
Yeah, we're going to hire this contractor for $100K, and they're going to write our whole system in Python 3, 3.8, and it's going to be great. It's going to be modern technology. And then the Holocaust has started.
Yeah, don't do that. Bad idea.
There's a lot of older technology. Some of it's still growing. There is a lot of good modern innovation in a lot of the agencies. At least I can only talk from experience from some of the stuff here in California. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the agencies are doing a lot of cool, innovative, and more modern practices in some areas. Some things are still relying on older technology, but some departments here are doing modern web development. They actually are using GitHub. They are supporting open source software. They're supporting open government software so that government agencies could use other agencies' software and code, which is really cool for the ones that actually participate and contribute to that. But that's something I'm also trying to be a part of, is helping public sector government with software and improving the tech stacks that we use, the tools that are available. while still still leaving like continuity, the robustness of the code base, and not breaking anything. There's a lot of room for improvement because a lot of stuff is still just manual paper processes. So you're not even digital on some of these things. So the fact that you can still just take those manual processes and do something digital or with code with them is a really good chance to help innovate and solve a lot of social problems.
Mm-hmm. I haven't been paying too much attention to that stuff in a US context, but I know there was a big scandal like a year or two ago about GitHub renewing their contract with ICE, and there were a lot of people who were really angry about that.
Yeah, that I remember hearing about that as well. We don't hear about it anymore because I guess people are off to the new buzzword or buzz phrase.
Yeah, well, they're going to use it, so if they don't use GitHub, they'll just spin up their own GitLab instance.
Yeah, or just use a private Git server. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the end, is it good or bad that they are allowing them to use it? Because that means that they're censoring people on content, and who are they to do that? Yeah, freedom of speech, right? Freedom of use? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't really have any business telling people what code they can put up when it's something well within the law.
Yeah, I mean, short of just straight up putting a malicious script for malicious reasons versus a malicious script for studying purposes, they really kind of just allow whatever, which is kind of like free and open source software. You kind of should. User beware of running, shell scripts that you don't understand.
Yeah, if someone posts a shell script on Reddit, don't run it. That's the most important message. Just don't run a shell script someone posts on Reddit. They're trying to break your system. There's
sorry. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's this one command you can. So if you don't know, there's a command that will take in a hex value and then convert it into like text. So you can echo basically rm-rf no preserve root and then pipe it into this command, and it then prints out that command, obviously, which should be pretty obvious what happens when you do that. And people like to post that on Reddit and a couple other places.
I remember I got like hand slapped in a Slack channel I'm in because I posted like jokingly, like somebody was talking about RMRF on like some like repo or folder directory or something with files in it, and I jokingly posted the sudo RMRF / I didn't put no preserve root, but I mean I've just put that as like haha, yeah, we're just going to delete our system right now. And somebody like got upset about that. I'm like thinking halfway, if you're the type of person that just runs commands without doing even the like smallest amount of research into what they do, maybe you shouldn't have that system. And maybe it should just be like a creeper from Minecraft and just...
But to be fair, the rm-rf one, it's safe on most modern systems.
Yeah, like Ubuntu, they don't even give you like root access, and you have to learn sudo, and even then.
Well, no, I mean the a lot of implementations of RM, they will actually require you to put the no preserve root in there. Otherwise, they just won't work for the root deletion. Basically, that's why that option is there. I'm pretty sure.
And I didn't even put that.
I'm pretty sure the Plan 9 implementation of RM doesn't do that though, so it actually will nuke your system. But the GNU implementation, you do require no preserve root.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I think that we've been going for nearly 3 hours now, so I think that might be a good place to end it on.
Yes, don't run that command.
Don't nuke your system, basically. So, do you want to give some things to shout out?
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun and entertaining. And
you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a good time talking with some of the people in your Discord too. And yeah, you can catch both of us on YouTube.
You gotta tell people your channel name. Assume that everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, I'm a star. You said so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bryan Jenks on YouTube. And then if you look at my website, bryanjenks.xyz, I have all of my links for everything on there, including a curlable business card in your terminal.
I did see that. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. I can't take credit for creating it, but I did remake it into my own, and I really thought it was a cool idea. So
awesome. Yeah, so for me, check out my main channel, Brody Robertson. If you somehow managed to find the podcast without knowing about my main channel, I thank you. I don't know how you did it. Good. I know I have some audio listeners, so maybe they don't know about the main channel. I don't know. It's possible. But anyway, go check that out. Go check out my Twitter. Everything is either Brody Robertson, or where I can't do Brody Robertson, it's Brody on Linux. Bryan, yours is Tour Guy Jenks. Everywhere on Twitter and that.
It varies. It's fine. I just say refer to my website and my curlable business card.
Go to his website. You'll find his links. Also, I want to thank my patrons: Joachim, Nathan, Andrew, P.E. Road, Tony, Donald, Oku, Larry, and Zilver. And if anyone wants to join the Patreon, there'll be links to all of that down below, as well as like my Amazon affiliate links where I can buy the gear I use to make this channel, or anything else you want. The one thing that someone has bought is some sweet rolls. I got 3 cents for that. That is awesome. So if you want to buy some sweet rolls and give me a small kickback for it, you can do that if you want. So
I'm totally going to do that.
Yeah. Honestly, if you're not using someone's Amazon affiliate link, you might as well. Like, you don't have to use mine, obviously. You could use anyone's. But if you're not using one, it doesn't cost you anything extra to use. So you might as well give someone a bit of help for it. So, yeah, I think that's the end of episode 12. Next week, I'm not sure who I'm going to have on. I might bring Marty back. That could be fun. Or I've got another mate, Sam, and if I bring him on, it'll turn into a political podcast. So we'll see who I decide to bring on. But anyway, that should be the end of episode 12. This has been nearly 3 hours long. We were going to end this at an hour and a half, but we just kept going, I guess. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here, Bryan.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome back anytime, as I said before. And how do you want to sign off the podcast?
Linux rules, don't use Windows.
All right, we can do that. See you guys later.